Okay, thank you, and welcome to Behind Closed Doors. With myself, I've got Lissy with me at the moment, and hopefully soon other guys will jump on and join us and make the show a little bit more eventful. We hopefully, I'm not going to say too much. I've got a special guest coming on tonight, so I'm not going to say too much about that one. But what I would say to, and I'll remind guys that if we mute ourselves while people, I'm doing it because I'm hoping Tinky's going to come on and speak to Tinky from the great Northwest, great Liverpool campaigner, her and Angie. And I was hoping Angie and Tinky would come on tonight because, they've done a lot to get me started and help me on my platform. And I hope, they can come on and tell us what they've been up to, like we did with Lee last week, and had a chat with Lee. So, is it been eventful for you, Lissy? Have you been doing much?
Say again?
Have you been doing much? Hi, Liz. Hi, Sue.
Hiya.
What have you been up to then, Lizzie?
I've been going out in my car, coming here and there, doing a bit of art, not wearing masks in public. Yeah, having a lot of communication with that person who's underneath me in the Zoom thing, the lovely Sue. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to listening a bit.
Yeah, bro. I mean, there are some.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
No problem at all. I mean, you're welcome on here. But like I say, if I've got guests coming on, then what we will do is we'll open up the chat room a little bit later so everybody can join in. But Sue, you want to say something, Sue?
Yeah, Jason.
Yes, okay. I'm here, mate.
I've sent you a message in Messenger. Could you have a look, please? Because I need you to put someone in.
Have you given them the link to get in?
No, that's what I need you to do. I'll give you the number to send it to.
Let's have a look. But why have you not just given them the link that you just used to get in?
Because, Jason, it's too complicated for me.
You just got in. You just used the link to get in.
Yeah, I know, but I've just sat down. I'm running around.
But you only had to give them the link that you just used.
I know, but I'm not with it, Jason. I've been ill this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so, your painkillers have kicked in, your antibiotics, haven't they?
Can you send a link? Yeah. Okay, I'll send a link to that number.
Don't say just yet, Jay.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully they're a little bit more helpful. So, I'm talking to you.
What did you say?
I said I hope the antibiotics are a little bit more helpful in helping you a little bit more from the pain that you were suffering.
Yeah, they have. I'm just going to take another one in a minute.
Is it what painkillers you're taking, or is it a course of antibiotics?
It's penicillin.
Penicillin, yeah. That's normally. Is it a 7-day course or longer?
I think it's 7 days.
Because
I'm not sure.
When do you go to? It's not till next week, is it?
No, 1 sec.
Barking orders to George, probably. So anyway, anybody got anything to say about the week and what's been going on? You're free to join us and have a chat with us. If anybody's got anything to say, please come on and
I've got a question, Alan. A question.
Sorry? Yeah, go on, yeah.
But you might be Tinky or a bit about us. When I was listening to radio, there was some announcement from some NHS thing asking for people, wouldn't be me, who'd been vaccinated, who had the antibody in them, to not give blood but to give plasma. And I was like, what is all that about? Obviously I won't be doing that, but if anybody got any information on that, it would be good to pass it to people who I'm encouraging not to take the vaccine.
Yeah, my granddaughter, she works for the NHS as like a social worker kind of thing. and she sorts out problems with some of the elderly residents and so on and so forth. And she has to. They made her have the injection because of working with people, and so people. So she said she said she was poorly all weekend once she had the vaccination, and it made her really ill. And she said to me, and she's only in her 20s, and a fit and healthy person, and she said, "I'm not looking forward to the second dose." If that's what the first dose did to me. And
excuse me, can I just speak a minute, please?
Oh, makes a change.
I did try to get a message. Jason, I've just had a message from him asking for it, so I've just said you're sending it.
Yeah, I've just sent a message with the link.
Okie dokie, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, but I did try to get your attention before I was leaving for a minute because I got a message, but no one listens as usual, you know, to me.
Don't forget we're live soon.
So I think I will get very firm tonight if you don't listen. You'll all cop it.
Good.
I
That's
listen to
good.
you, Sue.
Eh?
I always listen to you, Sue.
It makes a change.
He don't.
I won't listen to her. So, yeah, hopefully that link works. I thought you said Marty might be coming on and some others.
Is he in the audience?
No.
Well, he'll have to be told as well tonight.
Yeah, well, he's...
You know, we need other people to give their opinions as well, like,
yes,
you
very
know,
well said.
and we will get round to everyone talking. But we're taking no crap.
What have you got to tell us then, Sue?
Not a lot. As you know, I've been really bad with my teeth. And really didn't want to, you know, bought a cooker by mistake, the wrong one. So now next week I will have 3 cookers in my kitchen, and I'll have to get rid of 2 of them.
What, are you going to buy another one as well? A third one? Or you've got to buy another one?
No, I've got one. I've already bought one.
So you've got, so you, like you said, literally, you will have 3 cookers in your...
Yeah.
We should start a catering business up.
I know. I will...
So, Sue, is that right? You bought a gas cooker and you found out you've got no gas?
No, dear. What I did, I saw a cooker. I like a double oven cooker with a hob on top. Well, I see this one and I thought, oh, that's nice. And it was cheap. Oh, can you send it in Messenger to him, Jason, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Can people not copy and paste from a message to...
It's not on Facebook. It's just on Messenger. That's why.
Hang on. I'm confused. I sent a text message. How do you want me to send it?
Send it to Messenger.
What? Facebook Messenger?
Yeah.
He's on Facebook.
He just said he's not on Facebook, but you can send it to Messenger.
If he's not on Facebook, he's not going to get the message, is he?
Well, try, see if he is.
See, I'm confused.
George, where's my tea, please?
So, and nobody got nothing to tell us then, and nobody got anything to talk about. Linda's coming in. Linda wants to come in. Let's let Linda in.
I want to talk to you, Alan.
Hey?
I want to talk to you.
You want to talk to me?
Yeah, I remember the first time I seen you on my popped up on my video.
Yeah. I'm listening. Go on, you're right. I'm just turning the heater down.
I was so impressed. And believe it or not, inadvertently, I'm nobody. But
Right.
I went down to Nottingham on the 22nd of August.
Right.
I was walking with Sue, the guy with the veteran, really.
Yeah.
And I got, well, because I was so slow and she pulls her face at me, just Sue does. I got in the security car with Jean.
Yeah, I remember Jean saying something about sharing a taxi with somebody, but I didn't know it was you.
Yeah, right. I mean, small world, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there was a couple of things because you shared. This
she
is,
looked
it was weird. It's a weird weekend because it was quite hectic doing it. It was very very emotional, very kind of nervous for me because sometimes when you want to speak, you can't always find the words.
Yeah.
And Lissy was sharing a scooter with Sue, and they become good friends through that. And I didn't know it was you that was actually sharing the cab with Jean. So it goes to show what a small world it is in some respects when you come
The
down to
thing
this.
was, I was down in Hyde Park with the veterans.
Yeah.
In September camping,
Mm-hmm.
and we refused to go home. Well, whatever was said privately, I think we might get him his own way. I don't. But we've enjoyed this demonstrating on the D notice all through 2019.
Yeah, we've been out a few times. I've been.
Yeah, what we're gonna do when we get what we want?
Well, we have to
Somebody
wait and
piped
see.
up. We'll go with the child abusers, and true to the word, we were all out there 22nd of August. So whatever's going on, Parliament and this, that, and the other, right to Europe, we're free. But this problem of child abuse and paedophiles will never go away. So we've got a job for life to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I said to you the other week, you've heard about Jean, loved it. Yeah. Sue pulls the face. Well, Linda sat it back. Sue tried to get in. We had this fat boy. I think he was huge. And we lost him somewhere. And Sue couldn't get her in. But, well, you were it, she says. Well, Jean were talking to the Scotch bloke. He'd got 3 weeks to come down to England. He was going here. It was really enjoyable. But Jean got to see the motorbikes.
Yeah.
And all them motorbikes had been going out for months.
Yeah.
They started on the 12th.
I'll have to send her the video for that because I've still got the video for that when they were in Nottingham.
The first time they went out.
I'll post it on Facebook and then I'll message it to Jean because she likes all that.
I know. She's a
anyway, what I'm going to say to you guys, like, there's going to be several people coming in tonight, and there's going to be some special guests coming on tonight.
Oh, lovely!
Hopefully, what I will ask everybody is if we've got a special guest on tonight. What I intended was one or two special guests on tonight, and we was going to do a little interview with them, and I would open the chat room up later on. So, Sue, did you want to say something?
I'll move.
Yeah, please, Linda. While the others are speaking, if you want to. If you want to put your camera on, you're quite welcome to. If you want to put your hand up or put your notification up, I'll come to you, honestly. So you're muted.
Did you send it, Jason? Another one ignoring me. That's all right, Jason. I quite understand. Bum. Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, come in.
I can't then do anything yet because
it's like Jason said. If he's not got a Facebook account, he won't have a Messenger account, will he? Isn't the two linked?
No, I'm just going to go and do something. I'll be back in a minute.
Don't know what's going on tonight. It's one of them shows. It's going to be one of them shows. It's going to be fun and games. It is sometimes you do have technical issues with because as you know, last week I had problems with my internet. My internet went off for a little while. But have you got anything to say, Lissy? Do you want to say anything? Is there any questions you want to ask?
Hello, Linda. I don't know if I can remember.
You know Linda, Lissy. I don't know if you've met Linda.
Well, I don't know if I do, but I'd like to say thank you for reminding me of the date that it was in August. And I went up there.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I've been back into that city where I come from, that area, for 25 years. And
yeah, I think Linda wasn't there, hadn't been there for quite a while.
Yeah, and I remember Jean. I can remember Sue and I bonding and walking and showing me scooter and wondering where Jean was.
What I'll do then, is
It's
I'll
just
do
saying
this.
hello, Linda. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, what I'll do is Linda, this is Lissy. Lissy, this is Linda.
Hang on, I can't get off of. Oh, right. I used to
Hello,
go
Linda.
when my children were young to the Back Boy pub for a lunch. My parents, I lived in Leicester, and my parents, we always had town, and we all went in the Black Boy pub in Nottingham.
There's my mate John.
He's
Connecting
trying to
audio.
change the names of the Black Boy pub.
Linda, it's been years since I've been back there because I've been living down south now, but it's lovely. My husband's called Leicester, but he's not from Leicester. Spelt different. It's lovely to meet you. I wish I could see you, but
Oh no, I haven't done my
don't
hair.
matter.
I've
Oh,
got
look.
lockdown hair. I have hoodie up
Oh,
with my window open, and I haven't put my makeup on.
well, I can understand your accent, so we're all right, Doc.
Born in Wales, behave. I'm just gonna try and get it
I'm
off
just
a
gonna
bit.
let me just admit Sue as well, because Sue's just come into the room.
Hang on, I've gone funny.
All right, are you there, Sue?
Yeah.
Johnny,
You're here.
Yeah, I'm here, Al.
hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, all right, here we go. Right. Have you got me?
Yeah, I've got you. How are you, mate? How you doing? Nice to
Hello,
see you.
Alan. Good.
Hey,
It was
Nice
good.
to see you. Lissy's here with us. We've got Linda in the chat room, and of course the lovely Sue. Sandy
I'd
did
feel
join us,
it
but
for
Sandy's
you,
got off
Johnson,
again.
Hi,
I just-
Lizzie.
Sorry for interrupting, Alan, but I'm a little bit intuitive, and I had a feeling that it might be this lovely gentleman. So I'm going to shut up and just say,
That'd be a first.
hello. All right, Linda. I'm having a fag, but I'm on a vape as well. Thank you.
I'm having a fag and I'm having a drink. I'm gonna have to turn off and come back in
All right,
because
Linda, we'll let you
not
back in, but
responding properly.
no problem at all. But we're going to have a little chat with John now and just see
Go
how
on, then.
John's been. So, Big John, how you been, my friend?
All right, Al. All right, yeah. You know, and as you know, I stepped away from a lot of stuff just because it was just total chaos.
Yeah.
And it's pointless engaging. It wasn't getting anyone anywhere, and it was just a lot of people with a lot of unresolved issues deciding to vent their spleen and just drag everyone down with them. So I'm not engaging with that. That's not what, you know, myself or many others set out to achieve. Just non-stop rucking.
Well said, because I look at it like that, John. I think, what is the point of arguing, falling out? And in actual fact, I think you was one of the first one of the first people to actually say it to me when we were in London one day. He says, you know, like, you've seen it so many times that infighting in groups and stuff like that. And people, why don't they just do the calls and save their other issues for something else?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, many reasons they do it, you know, and a lot of them damage people and vexatious people, you know, and they come along bearing gifts, wanting to help, and then just end up leaving a whirlwind of destruction behind. You know, unfortunately, there were some good people that got caught up in it. But when I decided to go, that was it. Enough was enough. And I've gone back to sort of working on my own. Doing some interesting stuff, and I'm not putting anything on social media anymore. Facebook is a sewer, an absolute sewer, and it's you know, I'll never go back on Facebook. The page is still open, but I've logged out of it, and I won't be going back on it, and I won't be responding to anything that's on there whatsoever. But no, it's good. And I mean, what's happened is now we've been asked, as myself and a cameraman, to look into allegations of like the ritual abuse, but we're looking at the voodoo and the Santeria and the juju and the African witchcraft, and we've been absolutely inundated because it's live and well. You know, the UK's got a colonial past, and got links to sort of West Africa where a lot of this started. And then,
maritime history.
Yeah, and you know, with the colonization, slavery, and whatnot, and this religion got taken over to the Caribbean, and it just got bastardized, and it's ended up on our shores now, and it's alive and well, especially within the criminal community. They use these the powers that this religion and these beliefs purport to afford them, in order to get on in business, to demolish their competition and to hurt anyone who goes against them. And it's all, well, it's witchcraft. That's exactly what it is. But there's a lot of sexual curses in there. There's a lot of abuse, a lot of sexual abuse, and it goes unnoticed because it never shows itself. So that's been the thing that I've been looking at. I've been going on other people's podcasts, which I've been all right with. And do the thing with this, Alan, is that there's a certain group of us that we've always remained mates. We've never fallen out, and we continue to do so. Others have come and others have gone. Some have left, a vile taste in your mouth, and others haven't, and all that. But
that actually summons it up, and that it's the nail right on the head. How we sometimes are deceived by what people really are after, or what their causes, or what they're trying to do. I'm just going to quickly say hi to Dave. Dave's joined us, and he's a great guy.
Hey.
All right, mate. Dave, John. I don't know if you know Dave, John, but
I do know Dave.
Yeah,
Dave's
we know each other.
He's a brilliant guy, and I sometimes come in the back room, in the chat room on his show. And I've watched a few of his shows in the background. Yeah, great guy. Him and Mike are really, really good together. Good double act. And yeah, if you've got anything to say, just hold your hands up, guys. And if there's anything you want to ask, particularly John, as he is the main guest tonight. I did ask Tinky and Angie if they wanted to come on tonight, but for some reason they're not here. But and just reciprocating basically what they did for me and helped me out. But great campaigning of the Northwest. Carry on, John. Sorry, mate. Yeah,
so I've been guesting on other podcasts, and one of the group that have been incredibly loyal and good allies in this have been former serious top tier gangsters. I started off really with Chris Lambriano, the former sort of high profile, notorious Cray Twins ex-gangster. I'm very close to Chris, and he's been staunch all the way through, been a very, very solid man, strong believer in God. But from there I've met up with people like Terry Ellis, Brian Cockrell, all in their day very, very serious and organised criminals.
Yeah,
but they've all turned their back on crime. All of them have come from abuse. Every one of them has come from abuse. I'm working with a guy that has to remain anonymous. He's really was a very, very serious man in his day, but he's doing a lot for kids on the street, kids in abuse, but he must remain anonymous. And I've not had one bit of trouble from any of them at all. They've been nothing but totally and utterly supportive.
You said to me one day, we was having a chat in a pub, and I said to you, John, I look word in your shelf light, and I said to him, I've been a naughty boy in my past. I've done a bit of bird as well. And he said, what did you do, Al? And I told you, I didn't really want to say, because I was going through a bit of some issues at the time. And when I was in one of the prisons I was in, because I was in every bloody nick, I was in Pentonville, Scrubs. I think when I went to Wandsworth, they were still cold showers, no radios, none of the malarkey they got nowadays. It was serious bird. And I've seen some things, boiling hot water, sugar in the face. And one of the guys on one of the wings I was on was Charlie Wilson, which was one of the train robbers.
Right. Yeah. And well, I'll tell you what, talking of prison, I've got a bit of an update on Wilfred Wong. As you know, Wilfred is probably, the premier campaigner and exposer of satanic ritual abuse. Wilfred was arrested on the 4th of November on the M1 motorway, I think in Buckinghamshire towards Milton Keynes. And he was arrested for suspicion of kidnapping. I think they may have stuck an aggravated factor on there because they're alleging he had a knife on him. And there was 5 co-defendants. One is now dead, who committed suicide. I think it's still an ongoing thing. I think that the coroner's office have got their own inquiry ongoing now. I don't think the police are pursuing anything. I think it's all down to the coronial side of stuff. And of course, Wilfred suffered monumental negative publicity from the mainstream media. And there was a lot of speculation because no one heard from him. And then again, there was a lot of people putting out these vile videos about him, you know, and some of them are people that, you know, that we've worked with in the past and linked in with. And, you know, I just don't know what's the matter with people. You know, they really are just thick and wrong in the head, you know. Anyway, so I contacted the prison and I just said, look, you know, Wilfred has been portrayed as a knife wielding child abductor in nonce, basically. And I said, well, he's actually the opposite. This guy dedicated his life for child protection, you know, and he's a good, decent individual. And I said, I want his risk assessment to reflect that. And because there was these videos getting put out, there were people calling him a pedo and stuff like that. I mean, and they were saying I was linked in with him, and that
I see that.
Oh, mate, honestly, I can't even go there with any trolling no more. The best thing is just ignore it, because
I often get attacked sometimes, John, for defending you, because sometimes think, you know, that you're going to get people that are always going to have something to say. It's like, you know, sometimes people want. I haven't looked in the comments room yet, but probably people are leaving messages and things like that. And in the comments room, I will go there in a minute and have a look. But, you know, people are always going to doubt whatever you do. And we've known each other for a few years now, and we've never had a crossword.
But what I say with that, Alan, is it's the morons that doubt it, right? When you look at the content, right, on the comments, 99% of them are always positive, right? Last year, I got 2 million views on my YouTube, 2 million views. I think in 2018, I was one of Facebook's most successful podcaster. And I had, by the end of 2018 and 2019, I had 1 million followers a month. Now, let's look on this positively. I mean, I started out, no one really knew who I was. Within 2 years, I was getting messages from around the world.
Yeah,
I was a bit nice to sit on, you know, and I've got to blow my own trumpet here because, you know, we've got to get this in context, you know. I've gone around Europe giving talks. You know, there's offers for me to go further afield now. I've been asked to give evidence on the government inquiry, which was very successful. And now I've been asked to advise police departments, you know, on child abuse and the cover-ups. But like Bill Maloney said, you're going to get attacked by paedophiles and their protectors. So the ones that have gone, these are a small, organised little group of total and utter weirdos, and they are, and they just crop up, and you see them attacking everyone else, you know, and there's no content. When you look at their videos, they struggle to get over 200 views, a lot of them, you know.
Yeah, I've seen yours in the thousands, literally in the thousands. I mean, I think even when you used to do a brew with a view, you was getting in the region of 5,000 to 9,000.
Yeah. I mean, I have done it when I've ended up with 80,000 after.
Yeah, you've done more than that. I think I found one with 120, 150,000.
Yeah, I mean, there was one. It was an 8-minute video, and it got 2.2 million views.
Yeah, I know you've got some.
That's amazing.
I'm just going to bring for a second, John. I just want to bring Dave in because Dave wants to put his hand up. He just wants to ask something. Go on, Dave.
Right, John, how you doing?
Hello, Dave. Good. Yeah, all's good.
Keeping yourself? You're looking well, mate. You're looking well.
Yeah,
hey, John, can I ask you a question, right? When you was in the Metropolitan Police and you was serving, and more to the point, when you was actually training to be a constable of the law, was you trained and taught the trust, the SKV Act? Was you taught and told that we're all in custody of the Registrar General and all that sort of stuff? Yeah?
No.
What would you have done if you'd have been taught that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've never. I mean, they did teach us common law because common law covers crime scenes and it covers a lot of serious crimes as well. So what you'd have, especially when it comes to public order, there was specific public order offences where you could stop, detain people for the power of search, but also you always had a common law power that presided over everything. So when it comes to what you're on about, I really don't know. I mean,
you don't know. So you know, we're all given birth certificates, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in the process now. I've been reading the Bible for quite a few years. In there, it says that if you have respect of persons, you're a sinner and you transgress the law. So this year, within the next 3 or 4 months, I'm going to be placing the person back into the custody of the Registrar General and coming back under God's law. And I'm going to be rebaptized this year, not within the church, because that's all part of the system, and I'm changing my name as well. So they're getting back their property. We're at a time period now where people have actually figured out how the system works.
Yeah.
It's just interesting in whether you know about it.
I mean, the one you need to talk to is a bloke called Gary Fraun. I don't know if you know
Right?
him.
No.
And he's managed to get his birth certificate out from the Vatican, and he's relinquished all
Wow.
his rights. Yeah, I can put you in touch with this guy, and he's written a fantastic book about it.
Yeah, wow.
You know, and he's also, but he can't use the National Health Service, and there's all other sort of things he can't do.
Here's the thing with that. When you relinquish all of that, to me, I don't see the hospitals and the doctors as a benefit. I see them as a right. You shouldn't have to go without anything. Now, if the system and the people that run this system, like if I'm taking the government deemed to own all of us, they've taken control of the planet, they seem to own, they think they own everything, and in reality they own nothing, because God owns everything. Every single atom he owns. So the point is this, it's not a benefit, it's a right. We have a right to clean water, we have a right to a home, and this is, I've been here many times, and this is probably my last incarnation on earth. When we were first here, we had rights to a home, we had total fee absolute over that. No one could come and take our property away from us unless we'd died or really seriously broke the law. But that law was all about, you know, raping, pillaging, stealing, that kind of stuff. We've got into a thing called fictions of law, which come in the 15th century by a papal bull, and you're right, the Vatican deems to own every soul in custody. That's why we're all stationary in some filing department somewhere. But there's so many of us now that just know that this is all a load of bollocks. Now, that means the world's going to change, mate, at some point. People, we know, like, if you looked at an aeroplane on a runway strip and you thought, fuck me, I've got to fly that to Venezuela, you wouldn't have a clue. But if you actually been trained and you knew and you understood how it was built and how it put together and how to fly, you'd do it with confidence. So that's where we are now as a species. We've never been able to figure out how the system works. And how I see that the police, and I'm quite thankful you're not in it no more, they absolutely believe that they own us, and they can never own us, not the living, breathing soul, right?
But what he says, Gary, is that any word with the word ice in it, like police, right? Ice refers to the temperature in which, you know, it's absolute and it's frozen, which is 33 degrees, which then links in with the Masonic thing.
Masonry,
but he's written a book. I'll try and get you a copy of the book if you
oh mate, yeah, I'd love that.
And I'll put you in touch with this fellow. He is an absolute oracle on this matter.
Wow.
And
I'll sort that out for you, Dave, don't worry.
Yeah,
God bless you, Al.
His name's Gary Fraun, Fraugha.
Yeah. Well, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. I've got a friend that's in the last couple of months, he got a district judge flavorly to sit back down in his chair, because my mate kept saying to him, "Are you on your oath today?" He said it twice, and the judge said, "If you say it again, I'll do you for contempt of court." And my mate said in an instant, he said, "You can't, I don't hold a bar car, I'm not nothing to do with your society." And the judge just sat back down in his chair and said nothing, and didn't sit on the case for 3 weeks.
There was
amazing.
A case years ago when I was in child protection, and 3 children were taken into care, right? But one had to go back because this one that had to go back to the parents did not have a birth certificate.
And that was on your watch?
Yeah, and I remember it, and I can remember them talking about it in the office. They had to give the baby back.
John Harris covered that. I think John Harris covered that. He said that 3 or 4 kids were taken, and at the end of the day, they had to bring one back because they didn't have the authorising paperwork, the ownership. Do you think it's plantation mentality, John, all this?
Well, there's obviously something with the corporate, you know, agenda behind it all. And if you look at, you know, the biggest commodity has been people, and it's slavery, it's servitude. And that's what it is. And we saw the same thing. It was quite interesting because myself, Alan, and a few others ended up in Scotland at the arse end of last year at a children's home called Quarriers, and these kids were moved about from one kid's home to the next, and it turns out they were getting money, and it was based on the old slavery when they would get paid a certain sort of thing from a levy from the government if slaves were moved about, and all they would do was keeping these kids in circulation and copy this sort of transference fee. So that all they are is just money making.
So I honestly believe in my heart that every man is indeed the master of his own deeds. What he does in the body is good or bad. I think that these people in the system that are doing all this wickedness are actually having their heaven on earth right here, right now. But does their soul get away with all this? I don't think so. I think
No, it doesn't. They'll be judged, and they know what they're doing.
Big time.
But if they want to put money as their god, then so be it. The thing is, these people have got it wrong, right? But they're comfortable and they're living a lie, and that's why they've got a need for this longevity of life, because they can't die, because if they die, they know that they're in the shit. But
True.
For me, right, I mean, I've put up with a lot of bollocks in the last couple of years. I didn't have to, but the thing is, I had a job to do, and my job was to expose child abuse. Now, of course, it was always going to cause problems, always, because there is a need for people to keep this under wraps. And there is.
True.
And the one thing you do, and you always do this, and courts have always done it, you need to denigrate your opposition. So there was a need for me to be denigrated, John, totally without substance, a load of old shit and all that. But people that attack have got a problem, and they've got a lot of unresolved trauma, and they've been dirty themselves, and they can't face themselves. They can't look inward. They can't, and it's called projection. And it's luckily we've got one of the best criminal profilers in the world that helps us so much, Corinne.
Oh, brilliant.
She does with child murderers. And she said to me, you're going to get it because your campaign has got your image on it, and you're going to face idolatry. So people are going to see you as a way forward. They're going to idolize you.
Good, isn't she, John?
She's phenomenal, yeah. And what she said is, the moment you won't do what they say, they're going to hate you.
Sure enough.
And because they're weak, because these people are weak. And the problem is, while they're doing that, they're causing disharmony, disaffection, discord, and everything else, and disrespect, and they're not moving forward. And they I don't think they genuinely know that they're doing the enemy's work, but they are. They are, because they're weak-minded. Now, strong-minded people will stick together and they will work together.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Alan, are you able to go into the chat room on the website?
I'll try and get in there because I had a little problem a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean, and I see some of the questions, John, may be critical. I don't know if you're open to addressing.
I'm gonna, before I do anything,
critics,
Jason, let me just say something, Jason. John's been invited on here just to see how he's getting on and what he's doing and all that.
I understand.
We try to move away from.
Alan, I've always said it's your show. You run it how you see fit.
Yeah, I won't address anything to do with trolling, and I'm not going to. It's just not worth my breath. It's not.
No.
There is no end to it.
As I said,
he said, she said, goes on forever.
It's Alan's live stream. It's he calls the shots on what he addresses or doesn't address, what he doesn't ask. It's totally up to Alan.
Sue, you're muted at the moment. Sue, do you want to come in and say something?
Yeah, just hello, Sandy. You're late as usual.
Sue's on the warpath tonight, and just so.
Go on, Sue. Have it.
Good. But yeah, Alan, if you can get in the chat room, that'd be good. If you could check in there and.
What I would like, Jace, if you can have a look at some of them, and if they're valid.
Alan, I'm not going to take responsibility for choosing what's valid and not valid as far as questions go, because
some of them
that makes me accountable for things being asked or not asked. I'm going to pass that one back to you, Alan. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
I'll build the platform. You use it.
Right. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys chat for a minute. I'll let Sandy come in and Sue come in and David's here as well, and this is there. You guys can have a little bit of chat. I'm going to have a look in the chat room, see if there's something there. If I feel it's valid, I will put it towards John. But like I say, I haven't brought John on here because it's not a trial. This is,
No.
you know, this is a get together for some of the people have been
No, it's
fighting
down
for
to you. It's down
animals.
to you whether you feel a question is a trolling question or someone has got a valid concern that maybe.
I'm gonna have a
worth
look
asking.
now, Jason. So I'll let you guys have a little bit of a chat for a minute, and I'm gonna have a look. I'll mute myself.
John will be all right because my mate Toby's the most hated man in England now because of
Oh,
what he's
right.
done in the
Oh,
hospital. So, yeah, he's the most. Like Piers Morgan has said,
Do you
he's the
mean-
head of the
do you mean
conspiracy.
do you mean it's Toby Lee that I keep hearing about?
Yeah. He phoned me yesterday.
I keep
They
hearing
took
the
him
name.
to a police station around in Surrey somewhere, and they said, right, we're going to let you go at half 1 in the morning. He said, you fucking ain't. He said, the trains don't start till half 4 in the morning. He said, you're going to keep, I'm staying it then, and you're going to give me a train pass. He said, because I've got more on you than you've got on me. And they did. They give him a fucking train pass, and he come home. He says, mate, in all the years, right, he is the strongest individual spiritually I think I've ever met. He's wow, geez, like a Trojan. He's like a Trojan. But what he did, he'd gone into this hospital. This guy in his 70s, his saturation levels were down at 73%, and the machine's beeping. And they said, we got to intubate you. He said, I am not going on a fucking ventilator. He said, you'll give me oxygen and I'm going home. They hustled Toby out, right, with 2 big beefy security guards. And before you know it, now his wife can't go and see him. He's on a ventilator and he ain't doing too freaking good, man. I swear to God, there's something really sinister going on in hospitals.
Well, with this thing with ventilation, because I get it, people saying to me, "Oh, I've got a friend who's on a ventilator in an ICU." Everyone, when my boy was in an ICU, did about 6 months in there. Everyone was on a ventilator. Stroke victims were on there, and people that have been stabbed were on there. And the thing is, when you're on a ventilator, it damages the alveoli in your lungs. It totally fucks your lungs. And the other thing with it, you're open to disease and infection.
Yeah.
Everyone, one day, right, I went in and overnight, 7 people had died of pneumonia. And these were people that came in. One came in because he was stabbed in the head. Another person was shot. Someone else had a stroke. So these weren't had anything to do with lung infections, but they all got lung infections.
Where have we gone so wrong, John? I mean, you ex-Metropolitan Police, we've got stab victims, people being shot. This guy said, I'm not going on a ventilator. They've put him on a ventilator against his will and his wish. Surely, it's his wish. If he don't want to take the ventilator and take the oxygen and it kills him, that's his right, yeah? They said,
I mean,
oh, no, we're going to... What's going on?
I mean, society has changed monumentally, you know, and you know, there's been an attack on like the masculinity as well, because
Big
you don't
time.
get your men's men anymore, you know. You don't get
I am, and I'm no,
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone is. I'm a man's man, you know.
You know, they've slowly been eroded.
not.
Family values have
That's all
gone.
right. Yeah,
You
big
know,
time. Big
family
time.
values have gone. We've got a single parent brought in, and people don't give a toss. You know, no one takes any responsibility for what they do. Children
True.
are running amok. You know, and especially look at discipline. I mean, it's all been slowly eroded as time has gone on. You know, bit by bit by bit. I mean, I'll give you an example of how things have changed on a police level. It's a bit anecdotal, but when I first started, I was in Southeast London, and we went to a call, and there was a car, and it had gone straight through the front of a curry house takeaway, right? So we turned up. The bloke who's driving the car is drunk, right? So the guy I'm with, he said, "Look, nick him for drink driving," and I went, "All right." Said, "Look, he's clearly got hammered and driven straight through the front of the curry house." Anyway, so the Indian bloke said, "No, he's our friend." And the driver said, no, let me explain. And what had happened is this guy had come out of the pub, pissed, gone and bought a curry, right? And a load of fucking idiots had gone into the curry house and started throwing racial abuse at the owner. So the driver of this car was so disgusted at it, because he likes a fella who runs a takeaway. He's decided that he's going to get in his car drunk and run these blokes over with the mindset of doing them serious damage, if not killing them, right? So he's now admitting to like conspiracy to murder. Oh, you know, do you know what I mean? Not conspiracy, but you know,
he's going for it.
everything else. But the blokes jumped out the way. He lost control, went straight through the front of the curry house. But he said, the good thing is, I'm a builder. I'm going to come back when I'm sober and rebuild it for him. And the thing, it was like, you know, strapped to his own safe. And the Indian guy in the curry house said, well, I'm happy with that. So my mate went, well, if you're happy with that and you're happy with that, let's fuck off and deal with something proper. But now it would be a major crime scene.
Yeah.
It'd be, you know, and I said, no, just fuck it, leave it. You know, we'll go on to something else. And that's how it was. Boom. But now, you know, it's a panic over everything and people are being nicked for absolute crap. And when I saw the other day that 92-year-old bloke being arrested for not wearing a face mask, it made me cry. Because, you know,
they're pushing civil war, mate. There'll be a civil war, they ain't careful.
What have we become? What have we become, you know? And it's just wrong.
It's proper. There's going to be a civil uprising of some sort. I can see it, man. Everyone's bubbling away.
Well, you'd like to think so, but unfortunately, we just haven't got the critical numbers anymore. I mean, I've been going to every single. I've stopped going now, but every single anti-lockdown protest, I was going. I was giving talks at them, and the numbers slowly got bigger and bigger and bigger, but it still wasn't enough, you know. And we missed the boat. We should have on it from the start. Got on it, everyone, and they wouldn't have imposed all this crap that they've done already. You know, it wouldn't have happened.
Let me just come in a second. There's Roy's in the chat room. Roy, he comes on quite regular. AJ Lashbrook's in there. He's been asking quite a few questions. Whether I want to put them across or not is another thing. Yeah, it's basically just asking questions. Basically,
same old.
Yeah. I don't really know. There's not much I can really say. I mean, I know Roy Pearson, and I don't know AJ Ashbrook. I haven't seen that name come up before. I don't know if you know him, Dave. Do you?
That's Alan Ashbrook.
Yeah.
He's a nice bloke, Alan.
Is he all right?
Yeah, proper solid.
It's not Alan. No, it's not Alan.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Somebody else.
AJ Ashbrook.
All right. No, so I'm thinking of Alan Ashwood. Alan Ashwood.
He was just basically asking.
Dave, Alan Ashwood died.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
Yeah, quite a while ago, but yeah.
Did he?
He did.
But there's some questions in the chat room anyway, guys. I'm just going to go with what we're doing at the moment. There's nothing really I can say. I just welcome to what's in the chat room. And if there are questions you want to ask, guys, I'll put it out there. Roy's putting questions up. Royal Criminal joining forces with Farage, and there's different stuff going on in the chat room. But basically, what we're focusing on now is that I really want John to speak a little bit more. So, and we're quite having a good conversation with John and David. It's quite interesting. Sandy, have you got anything you want to ask or say to John while he's here? It's been a while since you've seen John.
How you doing, John?
All right, my man.
Nice to see you again. You know, we'll need to get you back. Not bad. We'll need to get you back up here again.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's a long old way.
Yeah, I was talking to your Aunt Kim yesterday.
Oh, was you? All right, yeah.
She's amazing. You know, so, and she told us she's got something for the kids, you know, in the graveyard. So I don't know what, but
okay.
She gave us 200 red roses to put at each child's headstone. That was.
Oh, that's lovely.
That was amazing.
You know that.
Jamie woman. But it's lovely to see you back.
But it just goes to show, you know what you've done up there for the survivors. You know, and the video that we did about the Beast of the Bell Tower, that really got some serious hits. You know, and that just goes to show, you know, the level of audacity of these people. You know, the fact that this man can continue doing that, get found guilty, and then get his old job back.
On my page alone, John, when I did the recording for that, and I interviewed you and Sandy outside where the Beast of the Bell Tower, we did it. My one alone got 9,000 hits.
Yeah.
So I don't know what others got, because you posted it, Sandy posted it, and others posted it. So jointly, I don't know what it got.
Yeah, no, we're still getting. I'm still getting messages come through on that. You know, but stuff like that should be a public outcry, and it should be. And
I'll forward it to you, Dave, so you can have a look at it.
Yeah, cheers, Al.
I was talking
Bless
on
you.
the podcast the other day, and someone was saying, well, how has it got this situation? I said, but you've got to look politically how it's got this way, because when you've got the groups like Pi, you know, that was what was being patronised by Harriet Harman, Margaret Hodge and Patricia Hewitt. I think it was one of them is Hodge or Hewitt was put in charge, minister in charge of children's services. You know, we've got all of them are right honourables. Harriet Harman is, I know it's unbelievable. I mean, Harriet Harman's the longest serving female MP.
Yeah,
You know, and you look, I mean, I can't get have any job. I get offered work, right, well paid work, to come in and teach interview skills to detectives, but the police have banned me. I'm barred from police buildings. So how can you get someone like Harriet Harman continue to draw a wage? And then you've got people like George Carey, who's in the House of Lords now, the former Archbishop of Canterbury, who blatantly protected Bishop Ball, refused to remove him from his post after he got cautioned for some sort of child porn stuff, and he went on to abuse a lad who committed suicide. You know, so the guy's got blood on his hands. Yet all you ever see is promoting them. Leon Britton, again, Home Secretary, all the files went missing, has been named time and time and time again. And
what
then
a
when
lot
you
of
get
people don't touch on, John, is that the Westminster paedophile ring did exist.
Of course.
Things with Dolphin Square, in Dolphin Square's proximity with Westminster, it was only a short walk away.
Well, I'll tell you something interesting about Dolphin Square, and I'm glad you mentioned it, Ellen, because I was walking along a little while back, and this black guy shouted out to me. He went, "Oi, Wedger!" And I was like, "What?" He went, "Come here." So I walked over to him, and he's a retired copper. He's a security guard, and he's been put in charge of, I don't know, some sort of college or something. I walked by. He went, "I've been trying to get hold of you," and he said, "I want to tell you something." He said, when I was over at sort of what they called A District, which was Rochester Road Police Station, which covered Pimlico, where Dolphin Square is, he said, we were all dragged in by the superintendent. He said, and the superintendent, this was during the 80s, the superintendent said to all the patrol officers, anyone caught stopping any car going in and out of Dolphin Square will not only be disciplined, they will face me. It's not to happen. You know, so this is what you've got. You've got collusion at high level. Now when I look at things, I look at them on a practical basis. Who is this superintendent, and what was his brief, and what does he get to gain out of doing that? Does he not have any critical thinking, or is he just obeying orders?
Could be part of it.
Well, that's another strand, isn't it? To act with such veracity, right, and such negativity, the bloke's got to be a wrong un.
Yeah.
You know,
look at all the Holly Greig stuff with Robert Greene, and I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the things
we
remember.
Me and Sue, John, remember the vans coming into Beechholme, and I remember looking up the avenue and seeing these buses like they were sunshine coaches, like Jimmy Savile's, and kids went from Beechholme, and we never saw them again. Where they went to, we don't know. But I remember you doing an interview with James Rees.
Yeah.
And he was taken to the Elms Guest House. I'm sure it was James that was taken to the Elms Guest House or Dolphin Square. But I know all these places because I used to cabin Fulham and Chelsea. So I know Dolphin Square. And you're exactly right what you say. They used to wave us on. They know who the taxi was ordered by. So therefore, you just got straight in, straight out and went about it. No one challenged you at all because they knew exactly who it was getting.
I mean, if you look at, you know, the testimony of Darren Layton, you know, when Darren was taken to that kids' home in, you know, down in Bath, in the West Country, and you know, the bloke who put him there was turning up and raping him, and then when he was kicked out and put on probation, his probation officer was another one of his rapists. You know, you couldn't make it up.
Do we ever get to stop all this? Does this ever stop?
Well,
good question, Dave. Good question.
We'll never stop this, but you know, like I said to someone, if I can be a stone in their shoe, if I can be a breadcrumb in their sheets, and this is what makes it so annoying when you get these people making all this effort to do videos to not just attack me, but attack Alan and all the others, you know.
Waste of energy.
Why would anyone do that? Why would anyone do that? you're attacking people that are doing good. Why would you do that? So again,
There you go.
look at that
Yeah.
superintendent. There's something seriously wrong for anyone to do that. You know, you just
My
wouldn't
heart
do it.
tells me that he's obviously part of the swindle, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think anyone who tries to cause problems, but you know, it has to be brought back on vogue. Now, if we going back to what you were saying about the trust issues, things with the law, the energy that created something is the energy that stays with it.
True.
And when you look at policing was started in 1798 by the Marine Police of London, and it was sanctioned by the East India Dock Company because there was a dispute between the merchants and the traders, because the sailors were getting stabbed, they were getting their throats slit when they went on shore leave, because there was no policing then, none at all. So they said, right, if you don't do something about it, to the East India Dock Company, we're relocating to Amsterdam. So they went and they employed Royal Marines. And if you look at the old police uniform, it had the boot neck and it had the high collars, which were made of leather to stop them getting their throats slit. Right? So they set up the Marine Police of London. And you've got Thames Magistrate Court in the East End, which is on the Bow Road. It used to be on the River Thames.
It is.
And the first police station ever was Wapping Police Station. It still stands to this day.
No,
you know,
is it?
Yeah, Wapping Police Station was built in 1798. It's still an operational police station.
Isn't
now.
there a boat? Isn't there a boat attached to that now? Isn't there a pier near there?
Yeah, they got piers. Yeah,
where the boats are, where the police boats are. Thames.
Yeah, you know, it's still there and it's still operational to this day. So it was all based on maritime law. That's why you've got the dock and, you know, the bailing out, because you bail out a boat and whatnot. And then from that, everything else morphed. It's the same as the fire service. The fire service was set up by the insurance companies, and the City of London police was set up to follow the fire brigade about because they were nicking so much.
Wasn't it Robert Peel that started the police?
No,
Yes,
no,
it was,
no,
yeah.
no. It was a bloke called Patrick Colern, and it was in 1798. The Met Police came later. They came in the 1800s.
I can tell you something you don't know, John.
Go on.
Right? Do you know what policemen were originally before? Do you know where they got the name Bobbies?
Well, that's meant to come from Robert Peel, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, what they used to do is to have red and green flags. The old Stevenson steam train, when it first came out, the policemen used to walk up the line with a red or green flag, and so they were called Bobbies.
Yeah.
And that's where people come from today, because they call them Bobbies.
Well, that's the other reason why it's called a police station, because they were based at train stations, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I get that, because it was the transport police.
I'm just going to come in for a minute, John, because what I'll say today, Dave, there's a link on the chat room for the Beast of the Bell Tower.
Yeah, nice work.
And also that Wake Up, I think Jason might have put that up there. Roy and Carry On, Sean's in the chat room. Hi, guys. Everybody's in the chat room. The rain system, Roy's put that up there. We know about the rain system. It is a shocking thing.
Alan, I've got a question, if you don't mind me asking a question. While we're talking about police, I often hear people talk about police officer and police constable. Now, I was always under the impression it was the same thing, just a different name for the same thing. So, John, is there a difference between a constable and an officer? Or is it just people's different interpretation? Or is there actually a difference in the labels?
Well, no. You get a warrant card, you're warranted. So you've been warranted by the Crown. A constable's only a rank within the warrant. I mean, the constable comes from country stableman, right? That's where it comes from. And so it's the lowest of the ranks. So you are an officer because you've been given, you know, the powers vested as an officer. And therefore you're warranted, and therefore you carry a warrant card.
There are some Latin terms that are used in these, John.
What's that, Al?
There are some Latin terms that are used in all of these sayings that we say we're to do with. When we go back in history, it boils down to a lot of Latin.
Yeah, I mean, if you read that book, I can't remember the name of it now, by Gary Thorne. I'll try and get a copy over to Al to give to Dave, and it's he explains all of it. You know, how it come about and why we do what we do, and the colours and the numbers. And it's just incredible. I mean, it's all occultic and it's all shoved in there for a reason.
It's all to give confusion of mind, so no one knows what the fuck's going on.
Well, they've always done that with language.
Yeah, we are. We're so confused, you know. You broke this law, you broke that law. I mean, farting now probably be breaking the law. It's all a load of nuts, really. But don't forget, we as people, we've created all this. It's no one else has done it. We've created this
Can I throw
system.
another question in, Dave? Another thing I hear, because as John's on here and being ex-police, I want to just clear up some things I've heard people say. So, one of the things that, I've heard people say about the black and white checker thing around the hat. And people have said you find that in a Masonic lodge, and it's a Masonic symbolism to have black and white checkers on police uniform. Is there any foundation in that claim, or is it just something someone's drawn a connection with and made something of? You're
never told why it's there, but I mean, Masonically, it's
I'm sure you've heard this, John.
The night and the day, isn't it? The light and the dark.
Yeah,
light and dark, yeah.
And also that with a lot of the police badges have got the stars. What is interesting about policing in the Commonwealth, all of the police forces in the Commonwealth, so we're talking about New Zealand, Australia, Jamaica, there used to be Nigeria, Canada, and the UK, have all got what they call the King Edward's coronet. And what that is the crown right on it. The only police force that doesn't have it and has no allegiance to the Queen is the City of London Police. They have absolutely no allegiance to they have nothing to do with the crown at all. They have two gold griffins on theirs, and they are totally out of the jurisdiction of Parliament.
Do they take the same oath, though, as the Metropolitan Police?
No. And the Policing and Crime Minister, I've been before him, and he said that they're a rule unto themselves. He said, I have no power over them.
You don't want to get nicked by the City of London Police.
So it's not the same oath that they take when they become a
No, they're totally
a
different.
nasty bunch of guys.
Totally
normally a
different.
red and white check.
And there's no roads in the City of London either. No roads. They're all streets and lanes.
Yeah.
It's a very bizarre place when you really sort of get into it. And
they said there's no road out of the city.
I've seen blood thrown up the Royal Courts of Justice. We was out there having a few beers one night. We'd been in and played with Master Leslie one day. Took about 40 people into his chamber, and we gone in the pub over the road. And we were scooching around. We went up to the Templar pub. When we come back, as I walk past the train station, there's all this blood. There's like bits of blood thrown up the wall. I'm thinking, Matt, this is satanical. We're living where we live. I tell you, it's dirty, man. It's really, really dirty. When people say to me, did you hear so and so went on? I went, yeah, quite believe it. Yeah, you got to realise where you live in, and it's a dirty place, man. It's up to us whether we choose to be dirty or we choose to be of the light and quite clean. I try and choose to be of the light because I think it's a better place.
But look, people will benefit from certain things. I was telling Alan earlier, I'm working with a guy at the moment, and he was a very, very serious, dangerous man in his day from the Caribbean, and he was heavily involved in the voodoo, witchcraft, Santeria, juju, you name it, African belief system, and he's educating us now how prevalent it is in respect to it's satanic abuse. They believe in the Leviathan, the Mammy Water, there's all different words for it, and he's been taking us to venues, and it's just mad. And he said you'll be surprised at how many people are involved in this. So many gangsters are involved in it because it protects them and it gives them what they want, because they're committing crime anyway. So, morals go out the window. But then also when we look at our politicians, the people that are named on the range list, when we look at how many politicians and CEOs of business, and people like Sir Peter Heyman, head of MI6, was a paedophile. It's all satanic. And this is why it doesn't go anywhere. And they do it for a reason, because they get something out of it.
The legal system don't deal with morals. The legal system deals with, is it legal or is it illegal? They don't deal with morals.
Well, emotion's not allowed to have anything to do with a
There you go.
case.
There you go.
And, amount of times I've been in court where someone's been crying, and they said, "Look, please don't get emotional. This isn't a place for emotions."
Well, what is it?
I've heard judges say it, and they don't like it. They just don't like it when people show emotion. It's wrong. It's dark. It's not right.
Hopefully, it comes to a change.
I'm just going to bring Sue in, because Sue's been very, very quiet. And see what Sue's got anything to add or would like to say anything anyway.
Well, there's only two women in there, and we don't get word in edgeways with you lot anyway. But no, this is something different. I just wanted to ask John, have you heard from Martin Lilly lately?
No.
Well, he was taken to court recently because he was at one of the demos. It was 10:30 in the morning. He was walking across the grass to go to the toilet, and he was stopped by the police for being
Right.
at a demo when the demo weren't there yet. And they asked for his name and everything, and he refused to give it. So they arrested him. This was at 10:30 in the morning. So he went to
But-
court, and it was thrown out of court.
Oh, right. Oh, brilliant.
I
Yeah,
was watching a live you did one day, John, when you was at Hyde Park or somewhere like that, and there was a protester you'd seen on numerous occasions on the streets, and she's a good foot soldier, and you said, please don't nick her. No, don't lads, don't nick her and all that.
Yeah.
And they did. They ended up nicking her, didn't I? Do you remember that?
There's
Yeah.
6 of them nicking her, poor girl,
Yeah.
you know. And it was wrong, you know. I said, she'll go. And they jumped on her, and it was just wrong. And I
Thing
thought,
is,
no,
John, right? They claim to own the property. So when you own something, you can destroy it. Don't matter, does it? They claim
Yeah,
to own us. They own us.
you know, it's I mean,
So wrong.
The one thing when you look at the court system, there's a difference between the magistrates and the Crown Court, because the Crown Court's still under common law and you're judged by your peers, whereas a magistrate's court, you're not. It's a commercial court. And that's when they send something for committal, they actually change the jurisdiction. That's when you get the
There is
person and the
the
people
element
thing.
of civil and criminal as well. There is.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a court once and someone did try the freeman of the land and they just chucked him down the cells for contempt. You know, they'll just say, no, whatever you might say, we're not entertaining it. Unfortunately, you're in their backyard.
Yeah.
Well, they own the
You know.
property, so you took all the benefits all your life as they see fit. So they own you. It's like you're owned. You got chains on. You just can't see them. But a lot of us are coming out of it now.
I mean, the best thing I always say to people: treat the police like wasps. If you go near them, agitate them, they're going to sting you, and they'll sting you more than once. And when I've been at the protest, any sign of anything, I just get out of the way. I've just got no interest in engaging with them. But you do see people go them. You do. They go up.
Yeah.
And look, when I was in the police, if someone said to me, "Are you acting under your oath?" I'd say, "Well, what are you on about?" I wouldn't even know what they was on about. It wouldn't mean nothing to me. I was like, "What?" You know, and you know, and some people they're too busy. But you know, cameras are getting shoved in people's face. If you went into a shop and shoved the camera in someone's face and started talking to them about the corporatist agenda of their employer, they'd totally get out of the shop. And it's the same as them. They're going to.
What's it feel like being on the outside now, John, as not on the inside? Because you was protected while I was on the inside, right?
No, I weren't. I was. I mean, when you're a copper, you're 20 times more likely to go to prison than if you're a civilian. I mean, it's just it's a horrific. Yeah, it's shocking. And you know, they look. Someone said going on to me about the police. I said, you know, have the police tried to take your kids off you? They went, no. I said, have the police tried to bang you up for nothing? No. I said, have the police, you know, taken away your income? No. I said, well, they've done that to me. I got destroyed by the police. They really went for me. Now, I work with good people. I work with some of the bravest people I've ever met has been in the police. You know, decent people, honourable people. But I've also met the most ego-driven, snakiest bullies, you know, that I'll ever meet either, you know. So I had a lovely time. I had an interesting career. No day was the same. But when I went against, and I really did pick the scab and got down to the core what was going on, you know, they came after me and you know, and these attack dogs were let loose on me and they really did a number, you know. But I just had to stand my ground. And I nearly lost. I was in a terrible state. You know, what they did to me was just nothing short of appalling. Well, I'm in court with them in a couple of months, so because I'm suing them.
Did you ever come across anyone in SO19 and the Trojans?
Yeah, quite a lot.
I've got a good buddy. Do you know Bob Perfect?
I think I do actually.
Bobby, yeah, he's retired now. He does a lot of firearm stuff, but he's out the Trojans. But me and Bob, we've known each other for years. He's a good lad.
Yeah, I used to do abseiling for him, and the specialist firearms used to you know, I'd abseil with them sometimes.
Yeah, Bob Perfect. He spent a lot of time in Germany. His dad was military, I think SAS, and Bob spent many years in Germany. Come to England, but he was in the Met for about 30 something odd years. He's retired now though.
Yeah, I definitely recognise the name. You know,
Bob Perfect, lovely guy.
but I mean, you you need the police. You do
Oh
need,
yeah,
need
you need something. I'm not too sure we need them in their current form. I've got to be honest with you.
I mean, the problem is, it's like, you know, people judge them on the fact of a Bobby on the beat. You know, there's so much goes on that people don't know about. You know,
What I think they need to go back to and is return to us, the people, and stop working for corporations and serving corporations. If they come back to the people and work for the people, job done, easy peasy.
Well,
but they don't.
they need to bring back common sense. You know,
There you go.
and discretion, and you know, and warn people with discretion. The discretion's gone. You know. I mean,
John, one of the things that I hear a lot is that the recruitment process now for the police is bringing in a different caliber of people to how it used to. And I've also heard that one of the requirements now is to have a certain number of people that have got a degree.
I think all of them have to have a degree.
Is it all of them now, is it? So, I mean, surely when you've got people coming in that have a degree, they would have been through university. And we all know that when people go through university, there's a certain level of indoctrination people claim.
But
from their tutors. So do you think there's a different caliber of people coming into the police than would have come in when you joined? You know?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, what a waste of a degree. Because someone said to me once, they said, "Look, just remember this: you are one thing. Your society's bin man, and that's all you are." You know, and it all stood by me, and I thought, yeah. And I mean, I worked with one bloke who was a forklift driver. He was the best copper I've ever worked with, and I worked with another guy who was an ex-airline pilot. And but a lot of military guys would
military
join.
Now, yeah, military now.
Military lads went about 30% when I joined. A third of them were.
When you see them all at Downing Street with all the machine guns, John, do you not think that we're heading into like a Wehrmacht situation and all that sort of stuff? It scares me, mate. It doesn't scare me because I don't fear it, but it bothers me.
It's changed so much because when I joined, we never had vests. We never did stab vests. And we had a little, 9-inch bit of wood in your pocket, and that was it. That's all you had.
Was there common purpose training when you joined? Because
well, I wouldn't have known if there was. I mean,
but maybe that's the whole idea, that people aren't meant to know that it's common purpose when they're being trained by people. But we know that common purpose now is a thing that's recognised. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I never really sort of. I mean, like most things, it changes you because. It was a disciplined service, so it's a bit like the military. You do your basic training, and it changes you, and you end up just in a police environment, and you don't socialise with other people, and you just become part of that system.
Yeah, but the discipline's only as good as the people that are dishing out the discipline, I guess.
Well, look, there were some tossers in it, but there were some brilliant people in it. Look, if I was getting my head kicked in. I want the police there, or if one of my kids got abused, I'd want a good investigator there to deal with it.
Thing is, John, right? You've got the levels of violence that are going up. So you've got all these gang members and the levels coming in, and the police have to have these sort of weapons, and then they up the ante again, and then the weapons go up. What about if we was all just back to the rule of law where everyone was equal, and if one broke the law, you paid severely for the penalty? Surely that's got to be a good answer, right?
I agree. I agree. And the community taking some responsibility.
Yeah, big time.
I mean, a lot of the time the police are picking up pieces because 80% of the kids that get banged up will come from abused backgrounds, not just sexual, but.
Absolutely.
I said this to a guy. I said I call it primary and secondary blame. They blame the social services. They blame the old bill. But hang on, when a kid is hurt, where's the line?
Mother and father
have been attacked. Yeah, where's the father?
Yeah,
we're living in a baby father, baby mother culture. Kids are just nothing. They've got more interest in their phones and their staffball terriers than they have their children. The illiteracy rate amongst kids is absolutely dog shit appalling.
True.
And
True.
we need to start being decent human beings and being responsible for what's outside our front door, not what we lock behind. It's just appalling.
Decent men and women again. Back to the rule of law, eh?
Yeah, I agree. You know, and let's stop worrying about offending people. I don't
Absolutely.
care. I don't care about an adult. I'm not here to placate adults. I really couldn't give a shit. But for me, people fucking kids, it was wrong.
Oh,
And I was like, well, that's wrong. This has to stop. You know. And I
would you
found
hang
out.
them? Would you hang them?
Yeah, I would definitely. I wouldn't be against the death sentence for people that are
Same as.
pathologically fucking evil and
Same
would do it.
as.
It's pointless. What's the point?
Send them home. Send them back to where they come from.
Sue wants to come in
Yeah.
with a question, guys.
No,
Let's Sue answer that question.
Lissy's had her hand up for quite a while. Could she have a word?
I couldn't see
Please.
it because she's got a photograph of her. Sorry.
I'm going to shoot, guys. I'm going to listen on the chat room. I love you all. Stay
Thanks,
blessed.
Dave.
See you
Cheers,
later, Dave.
Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye, mate.
See you
Ciao,
later.
John.
Bye.
Cheers, Dave.
Ciao, guys.
You need.
Bye.
God bless you. Thanks, Al.
Put your thing on, Lissy. Yeah.
I like Jean last week. Yeah, excuse me, I've been eating. We've had some food. I'm trying to formulate my question to ask Mr. Wedger. Right. Yeah, I don't want to talk about my story, but when I did share with John in August, before the 22nd of August when I met Sue, I now know a lot more than I knew then. Loads more, remembered everything. And that isn't something that I like. On the 10th of February, which is only like tomorrow's the 1st. In fact, I just want to share that this time last year, on the 31st of January, I was in hospital having life-saving surgery. Now, when I go, I live, unfortunately, at the moment, down south in East Sussex, Brighton and Hove. The reason I'm saying that is that I've already met my officers. One is a non-commissioned officer and the other one is commissioned. And I will be doing a performance in front of a camera, not a performance, telling the truth, in chronological order about one member of my family, and that's it. Who was my maternal uncle is, I don't mind about that. And then what I want to do after that is just hand it over. The question is, because this is the first statement, I've been in touch with the police officers who are all right.
Liz, can I just remind you that if there's an ongoing case, you need to be mindful.
I won't be
of what
saying a
you
word
say.
about it.
George, I wanted to step in and make sure that's clear because we need to make sure that
I won't say a
if
word.
there's
It's not even
anything
started.
pending, we don't want to.
It's not even started.
Hinder anything. Okay.
It's not even started. When I go, I was back in 1984 on the miners' strike and I was arrested just for pulling a poster down from the NUM. And they kept bringing me out as a political offender. And that's my worst charge on the 29th of August, 1985 at the end of the miners' strike. And I know about the law a little bit, right? So when I go there, because John was saying about the magistrates and they're just, you know, and then there's the Crown Court. When I go there, I have to be chronological. I will not be mentioning SRA. I will not be mentioning my theories on it. But I want to know, is it worth me talking about the gory details that I can remember from 9 months old or not when I do that? Because these two women, it will be in a house with the cameras and that, like not at a police station, because I don't want to put my family, there's only one person, my other family, who I've forgiven, in jeopardy or in any problems. So, you know, I'm in touch, by the way, with one of the defendants, not Wilford, who's in prison, one of the women. I won't mention her name. She writes to me when I write to her. I've had to let go of that. I'm doing this because I'm brave and I want to let go of the whole sad, sorry story and get on with my life. When I've done that on the 10th of February, my dog will be there, my husband will be there downstairs. Then I'll come out and I want to get on with my life. Because what they did to me, and it wasn't just one person, it were like them horror stories when it's like, who isn't the paedophile criminal Satanist in the village, right? So only one person that I will be reporting who has hidden under the radar for a long time. And that's because he must have done it to many, 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 many other children as well as myself. That's why I'm doing it, because I know that once I have unburdened myself with a non-commissioned and a commissioned officer, one's Polish, I've met her over a year ago, lovely, lovely, lovely officers. who were more empathic than anybody from the mental health people. And I know they're all right because I sussed them out.
What do you want to know, Lizzie?
I want to know, I want a bit of help really about how and what to say so that I don't have to be prosecuted.
You tell the truth. It's simple as that. You tell the truth. You know, this guy, you've got no loyalty to him, and it's all about the truth. They need to know the truth.
But the truth is boring.
Well, good. That's how it should be. Then they need to hear it. And what's the point? There's no point sugarcoating anything. You know, if you start cherry picking, you're going to lose your continuity. It's not going to make sense. It needs to run it with chronology, and it needs to make sense. And they need to understand you as a person.
Stay strong, darling.
You know, yeah, exactly, and they will understand where you come from. But just tell the truth. You've done nothing wrong. Your family, no risk.
So go finish on this. The first memory is of 9 months old, and that's unfortunately the worst. But I know because it's been witnessed through somebody that I'm telling the truth. And I will not take medication till afterwards because I do not want to be lethargic. I hardly ever take it. My husband will drive me home. So just think of me then. I'll do it. I'll be all right.
But what you've got to look at is that the success rate of these cases is very, very low. Right? You know, and without the evidence, the real evidence, they haven't usually got a lot to go. And it doesn't mean they can't pursue it. It means they need a bit of tenacity and a dogged spirit enough to do it. Unfortunately, not a lot of them have got that. You know, so if it doesn't go anywhere, just prepare yourself for that, because that usually is a reality.
Thank you. I kind of hope that in a way, to be honest. I just want to say it.
What I will say to Lizzie is to do nothing is not an option. You know, you've done something. And do you know what? Even if nothing happens, if they go and talk to that guy, he's going to shit himself thinking he's going to prison because he knows what he's done.
He does.
He knows what he's done, you know. So, and then you're showing the strength and speaking out. So just do it and you'll feel better. Listen, you know, with healing, you're going to need a little bit of justice. And in one little way or another, there's still a bit of justice in that because you've come forward and spoken out.
The first time, and just to let you know, everybody, Sue knows Lo, she's my lovely friend. I have found myself a new helper who is somebody from Karen, trained by her, and I'm going to carry on with my healing because until I've done this, it's a bit of a burden, really, since before I was born. But thank you, and I'll shut up now because I can go on forever.
We know
really
that.
But Lizzie, one thing I would say to you, and one thing Sandy will back me up on, is that whatever anybody ever says to you in life, it never leaves you. I don't care what anybody ever says, it lives with you forever. People can sugarcoat it as much as they like, and they can say what they like. When you're looking from the outside in, it is totally different being a survivor. Trust me.
And you're being brave. Just keep up the brave.
Yeah, well done, Lizzie. You've done well tonight.
Yeah.
Danny, have you got anything to say? Do you want to mute yourself, Danny, and say something?
Yeah, just stay strong there. You know, we all know what happens. It does happen. Just keep going strong. You know, just keep going strong. I would like to ask John something now. It's regarding with the police. If an abuser who's abused someone is still alive, and you put in a complaint about that, and you give a full statement about what happened, what action should the police take after that?
Well, if you make an allegation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with the allegation, you're going to need to give evidence. And the evidence, on the whole, 90% of it is a statement.
Yeah, well.
Right. So a statement then ties you into the court, right? So once they made the allegation, they should look at the merits of that allegation and see where they go with it. Now, unfortunately, the parameters have changed because when I was in the police, even if someone just had a rumour that a bloke was a paedophile, you could go and get a warrant kick their door in, or you could just go and nick them, right? On just a mere bit of spurious information. Because of all this shit with Cliff Richard and Bramall and all that, you know, them others that have weaseled their way out of convictions, they don't work like that anymore, you know? So now they're what they should do is take a proper either a written statement or a video statement, and then they should then go and either nick the person or invite them in for an interview.
Yeah, well, the police actually did take a written statement, and this regards myself. The police were down here, they took a written statement off me. One of my abusers is still alive. He's living in the Edinburgh area. I've tried to track him down. I've got him to Edinburgh. And I gave a full statement to the police. They come down, they interviewed me, wrote everything down. And that was about, what, a couple of years back. Phoned them up, what, 6 weeks ago, maybe, 2 months, 8 weeks ago. And they tell me they're still investigating us. This is 2 years down the line. How long does it take them to react on this, you know, roughly?
Well, they should be on it straight away. I mean, unfortunately, the investigations could go on for years. I can always remember when I was on the child abuse investigations, I went into a room. It was like a disused office, and there was these piles and piles of paperwork. And I said to the sergeant, "What's all them?" And he went, "Well, if you're ever bored, pick one up. They're historic cases." And they've just been shoved in a room because they just mothball them because they can't write them off because there's serious allegations. They just sit in a room and do nothing. Now, what they should do, they've got a thing called the Victims Codes of Practice, right? They should give you a meaningful update every 28 days. Right, it's called the Victims Codes of Practice, VCOP. And every 28 days, you should be contacted either by phone, email, or whatever, and given a meaningful update. I mean, the thing to do is if you don't get anything, just start belly aching to them, you know, and want to know exactly what happened.
They should be, by rights, you should be contacting me every 28 days.
Every 28 days, yeah. They've got a duty to do that. That's their codes of practice.
Can I just say that the officers are real lovely, have promised me that they will keep me informed. And when I had to go previously in that case is spent and did an ABE, obtaining best evidence, everything has been logged down, every single thing. And it was actually a year ago when I had my first remembrance, and that's all been logged and logged and logged. And I have unfortunately, or fortunately, got one of them brains that remembers. So thank you for that. And I love the Curry House story. I'm right here. Yeah, I remember.
Did you want to say something, Sue?
What you've got is only 2% of historic cases result in a conviction. 2% is appallingly low because there is no evidence. It only comes down to two things, you know, one word against another. And that's all you ever get. And that's all you ever do get with these old cases. But it'll be down to the tenacity of the officer. But they've been so beaten back now because of all this stuff with Operation U-Tree and Conifer and all the others, and with the whole profile cases, that they pretty much need corroborating evidence before they do anything.
That regarding, well, you know about Quarriers, what happened in there. How will that go with the children of the past? You know, we've all gave statements, we've stood in front of Lady Smith, we've done Kurt Silverman. How would that go, taking your abusers to court there?
I mean, the problem...
That, most of them's dead, but we can still take the orphanage to court.
Yeah, what you need is a class action. You need to do what a lot of the survivor groups, like the Shirley Oaks and a few others have done. There's one, the Medhamsley case in the northeast, where they all got together. They went to a no-win, no-fee solicitor, and then they took the local authority on for vicarious liability. That's what you need to do, you know, because they failed to protect, and sometimes they've knowingly employed paedophiles. Allegations have been made and not addressed and stuff like that. But you've got to put in freedom of information requests, and you've just got to start compiling the evidence, you know.
I noticed John with. Let me just come in a sec.
Oh, sorry.
I noticed something, John. With,
Can I just say something? John is at work, so if he keeps
Yeah. So I
speaking,
come and go. That's you, David. That little
he
tub.
comes and goes.
Yeah. No, it's someone dropped it off.
All right, so
Okay.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
yeah.
All right. Cheers.
I didn't know you was at work, John. Sorry, mate. I apologise about
that's
that.
all right.
I didn't realise you were doing this while you was at work.
No.
Can I just ask you, John? A couple of years ago, I said to you that when I got abused and I got put away, a year after, the police came and took a statement from me. Now, I said to you, can I still get that statement?
Yeah.
And the solicitor, I signed a form for them to get the statement, copy of the statement, which they never ever did. Is there any way that I can do it?
Yeah. I think you need to put in a freedom of information request and ask for that statement.
Right.
FOI. You know.
Do I get that from the Metropolitan Police?
Yeah. If it's them that dealt with it, yeah.
I presume it was, yeah. Okay, that's what I wanted.
Do you know who interviewed you? What constabulary or what area?
It was in, it was either Sutton, Banstead or Epsom.
Well, Banstead no longer exists, so you probably some sort of Surrey Police, a route of going through Surrey Police. I'll have a word with Delroy on that one because Delroy is actually got a case precedence for some of the things that happened. Is when John was talking about the ICSA investigation into Shirley Oaks and the SOS survivors, and there was a talk about some of the treatments some of the children suffered in Shirley Oaks with the carbolic soap and stuff like that. There's a court precedence been set. Now, does that court precedence that's set for Shirley Oaks survivors, surely that's got to stand for Beechholme survivors who haven't even had a mention? Because I've given testimony for that.
Can I just go back to the question that Sue just asked John? Because John, you mentioned about Freedom of Information Act. But as I understand it, that tends to apply more to information that's in the public domain that can be requested by the general public. And of course, when it comes to someone's personal statement as part of reporting a crime, that isn't something that, I mean, I couldn't make up that request to the police to get Sue's statement. You couldn't, Alan couldn't, only Sue could. Is there anything under the new GDPR guidelines, General Data Protection, where a person can use that to request a copy of the data held on them? Because
you can. You can ask for any third-party data held against you.
Yeah, so it would. I'm guessing it may come under GDPR rules more so than freedom of information.
What's the other one? Subject access request is another one.
Yeah, because obviously freedom of information is more a case of information that is available upon request to the general public. You know. So maybe it's worth looking into that as well. I mean, I don't know, John. I'm sure you know more about it than I do. I'm just thinking. I know from a business point of view, if you hold data on a client and that client says they want a copy of everything you've got on them, you've got to provide a copy of everything you've got and delete it at request. You know. So it may be worth looking into that as well. So GDPR. I don't know.
But you're a concerned party, so because it's your statement, you're not asking for anyone else's. You're asking for something that's yours.
Yeah, I just wondered if they got rid of it because everything about my abuser has disappeared. Everything.
Didn't Tony Blair have something to do with the 100-year rule?
Yeah, you know, and he did get put away, obviously, but we wasn't mentioned in it. He didn't get put away because of us. What he did to us. It was for he was a couple scout leader or something, and he got done for them. So, but obviously things, because they came to me to take a statement, accusations had been made in Beechholme about him, but he got put away for something else.
Well, this is the thing. This is maybe another question for John. When a person is found guilty of a crime, John,
Yep.
and there's been reports prior to that them being found guilty for that crime of previous allegations, do the police naturally go back to previous claims made about that person that were maybe dropped due to lack of evidence, or just not pursued, or not continued?
No, because
another?
I mean, each is on their own merit. And look, if
Yeah,
someone's
but
found
obviously,
guilty,
if someone's investigated and it's dropped, and years later they're found guilty of that same crime in a different workplace or against a different victim, doesn't that add weight to the prior claim that was made against them?
I mean, look, if a case has run its course and then been no further actions, unless new evidence comes to light, it won't get looked into again. But you know, if someone's been found guilty, and there are other allegations that have cropped up in the past, they can use that, you know, as evidence of bad character, which can add weight to their sentencing.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it will just be intelligence. It will just be intelligence.
Can that bad character be used, judgment of bad character be used to reopen cases that have been closed or put on hold?
Not unless with some new evidence comes to light. You know, then
surely,
they could do. But
surely the prosecution is new evidence of bad character. I suppose, but obviously it's after the prior event. But I don't know really. If I was in that situation where if I was a victim and the person hadn't been prosecuted due to lack of evidence or just wasn't followed up or something, and I later found out that person got found guilty of the exact same thing that I'd claimed had happened to me, I'd be screaming from the rooftops, "Look, I told you so!" You know, look at it again. You know, I was the first one he did it to. You know, but the police not go back and look at that. I mean, I would have thought they would. You know, I'm shocked.
Because it's not their place, is it? I mean, once it's done its course, it's been investigated and nothing's happened. I mean, it's you know,
that must be a bit of pill to swallow for people that.
Well, it always is for a victim, isn't it? You know, you want justice.
Well,
you know, but a lot of that's down to the tenacity of the investigating officer, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how comes that some always? I mean, I had an 80% success rate on my cases, and others, you know, they are 30% just because they can be asked.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was the first one that reported him, you know, I did go up and report him with 2 other girls, and obviously then I got put away for reporting him. Really, it was shut me up, so I didn't speak out anymore.
Just to clarify, so when you say put away, for those that aren't familiar with the background, when you say put away, it sounds like you've been banged up in prison or something.
No,
you know.
I was 14 and I got put in a mental hospital for 3 years because of it. But a year after I was there, they realised, obviously, more had come out about it and come and took a statement from me. I didn't hear any more about it. I think it was actually 3 years later, and my brother told me, because obviously I wasn't in the home no more, and he did get put away for 3 years, and he came out and he's back doing his job with the council, like, because he wasn't an uncle in the home, he was the husband of the aunt there, and he came back out and was working back with Sutton Council, you know. So either they didn't take my evidence because I'd been put in a mental hospital, and obviously if you're put in one of them places, your word's nothing, you know, because obviously you're mental.
Johnny, you're right to carry on, or do you need to go away?
Yeah. No, I'll be all right till 9, and then I'll have to.
Okay, mate. I'm just worried you keep looking around you like you're.
No, it's right because I've got to watch the door. You see, that's all.
Yeah. No problem at all, mate. So, are you still working quite a lot, or what are you up to, John?
Yeah. No, I'm doing. I've been blocklaying during the day, but there's no income in that. That's just, you know, an act of benevolence. And then I'm working in the evenings doing this, and then I'm doing the other investigation stuff about 2 evenings a week. So it's all kicked off again. It's all kicked off doing that stuff. So I had to lay down for about 2 months, and then it's just gone crazy. But this time, no one will know what I'm doing. You know, I'm not letting the loonies anywhere near anything I'm doing now. But it's all right, and you know, it's all
because you was going to do with something with Sean again, weren't you? And me and you were going to get involved in something. With Sean,
yeah. That's all right. Yeah, I've got to pass the details on to Ash because the guy called Ash.
Yeah, I know
Ash Meikle does it all now, so that's all right. I've got that in hand.
I know Ash.
And, you know, so I did another one with Sean the other day. And that was, I think that was the first one, really. I sort of went back and then it's just kicked off from there.
When's that coming out, John?
It's out already.
Is it out? I didn't know.
It came out on Monday. And,
right.
That was 4 hours and 10 minutes or something. It went on. All right. That went on for quite a while. But we're working. There's me and another guy. We're putting a documentary together. But it's the parameters are really tight. Whereas before it was on all sorts of different things. But now, you know, the documentary maker only wants it on looking at witchcraft. So
yeah, because I was supposed to do something with Sean, but because of what happened, the lockdown and everything else, and the restrictions they put on, it's a bit difficult. And with Kath not being very well and quite vulnerable, it was quite a difficult time for me. And with her then breaking her foot, in 4 places, it was a little bit.
Yeah, well, a lot of the studios shut down. You know, they weren't allowed to open, but they've allowed them to open now. And a lot of the people who do the podcast don't give a toss for the COVID anyway.
No,
you know, they're not really bothered.
I wanted to ask you, in actual fact, is the regulations and statutes that Boris Johnson brought out for 2020, right? When the police turned around and said you will be arrested under COVID regulations, right? It's not lawful, John, is it?
No, what they're relying on is this provision under law, and it's section 25 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, that you can be summoned for an offence, right? So it's a summons only offence, right? But in order for them to summons you, you have to supply them with a name and address that's verifiable. Yeah. And of course, this is what happens. You know, people don't give them the name and address, and therefore this part of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, it kicks in, bang. And so that's how they do it. That's exactly how they've done it. And it's got the same clout as a parking ticket, you know.
But if you've got, like Dave was asking you earlier on, if you've got constables and you've got police officers, so you've got 2 categories of police services, if the officers are putting fines on people, isn't it coming down to more commerce and the gatekeepers then becoming commercial gains for the government?
Well, I think they found it with Lancashire, wasn't it? That they did a freedom of information request on the company that was dealing with the fines.
That's right.
They're all coppers. I mean, that this is where people need to get together and take this to some sort of class action and say that this is wrong, that this is a conflict of interest, right? They should never have been given the authority as a second income to do this, because it's wrong. It's connected to police. So like a copper can't do anything that requires a license.
Was it Ancro or something like that, John?
I can't remember the name of the
Cordo or Ancro or something like that, because I've seen the sign for that at stations where the parking ticket machine is run by the same people.
Yeah. And of course, it will be the chief constables then, who are the major shareholders, that are the ones that go ahead and prosecute. So it's in their interest to keep. So I think it's constitutionally wrong, and it needs to be taken up at a parliamentary level, you know, with the Home Office. But
I did a trace on that, John, in actual fact, and I found the same thing with speeding tickets and the vans that sit on the side of the road and the motorways and things like that. It's all linked to something similar of what I was saying to you about this parking thing and it was all coming together, but it was run by police.
I mean, when I was in the police, when I was in the uniform branch, right, which was the first 2 years of my service, We never dealt with anything like that because we were too busy.
Yeah.
You know, and so any sort of Section 25 non-arrestable, it's called a non-arrestable offence, it didn't even bother with it. It just didn't even bother. Back then, possession of a knife was non-arrestable.
Yeah.
You know, and they just, you say, oh, don't worry about it, just forget it, you know. But now
Yeah,
this
but
what they've
with this
become.
COVID regulation, it's like it's more of a magistrates that are dealing with, you know, dealing with civil matters, right? And where's the criminal aspect when the police are getting involved? If it's a civil matter.
Well, I know, it's right. The police shouldn't have anything to do with it, you know, and I don't know why they are. But then, of course, if you're looking at how they, you know, they're arresting a 92-year-old, like little women and jumping on them, and it's just wrong. It's just outrageous.
Yeah, I get you.
You know?
Lissy wants to come in and ask you a question. You know if it's okay?
It's not a question, it's just some information, but thank you, Alan. In response to what John was saying about his documentary, since I did my one and only live that is up, the others were taken down with you, John, I've been in touch with a young woman who is in America, and her name is Ghislaine, but she has this channel, and she is a survivor. She's only 32, and she is half Cuban, half Jehovah's Witness. Her father, it's all on her channel, was a Caribbean witch stuff. She's survivor amazing, and she completely supports you. So if you let me know for a podcast or whatever you want to do, I am sure that she would be helpful to you. And
is it a thing called Santeria?
Yeah. Now, if I just, because it's all on her channel, so we can all know. And she's been in touch. We Skype every week, and we're friends, right? So she was, and it's on her channel. She was groomed to be. There we go. She was groomed to be the next Beyonce. And when Alan was saying gatekeeper, she's got a whole different story on that. She's a lovely woman. It's The Spirit and the Bride. It's a small channel. I was going to do a split screen.
What's it called again? What's it called again?
Right, I did. So her channel is called The Spirit and the Bride. It's a very small YouTube channel.
The Spirit and the Bride, okay.
Yeah, and she's 32. She's Hispanic, long dark hair, and she was 23 when she was kidnapped. Her husband, it's all on, this is between us here. Her husband is a direct relative of the Disneys, but they're together now with children, doing really well. And she's very brave, and she's in America, I won't say where, but she was in South Florida, and she was born, she's got Cuban. Yes, so that is the exact one. So she's amazing. And I saw you with that, and I've watched all the ones with that American dude who was asking you questions the other day.
Oh, Eddie?
Yeah, he was cute. But she speaks slowly. She's still recovering from MK Ultra stuff, and she's my mate, yeah? But like we say, hey, dude.
AJ's brilliant. I have a lot of time for AJ.
She's this lady has still got her channel going. She supported John, and I speak to her every Wednesday. I'll be speaking to her, and she was gonna, like I said, have me, but I can't. I'm not ready yet for any of that. But she's got Zoom. She's very, very humble. She's got 2 little kiddies, and she's escaped it. So she's 32 now, and she was 23. It was a single Satanist who got her, and she's so brave. The Spirit and the Bride. And you can contact me, John, and I'll put you in touch with her. And she'd be tickled pink. She's got the dude, all of it. She's brilliant. But that was just my 2 pennies. I'm painting, by the way. I'm not taking notes on anybody.
I just want to say, guys, just let me before we go on, guys. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's joined us in the chat room. There's Spearthrow is in there. We've got Jason's in there. Linda's gone on to the chat room and praising you for speaking up, Lizzie. Ian's in there. AJ Lashbrook's in there. Quite a lot from Linda's in there. And just thank you, everybody who's come into the chat room tonight. Sean and everybody else that's joined us in there. I haven't forgot about you, but I really wanted to get some of the guys a chance to speak. But there's nothing really in the chat room that I really feel is warranted to put to anybody out there, basically.
I've no idea. I was getting that chat room, but I'm sure you'll educate me soon, Alan.
It's quite easy, because basically what you just do is, if you go on to wakeupuk.net, just Google it, and that's how you get in anyway. And then you go on to the bubble, the white bubble. If you press the white bubble, it brings you in.
Tell me another time.
And then you go into the red one. Hang on, Lizzie, I'll try and tell you. And then you go to the red one. Sorry?
just to say, I can't take it in. I'm on
You
my
can't
phone,
take
but
it.
thank you. My brain can't take that in at the moment, but I'm sure Sue can help me as well. But thank you.
Sue's learning herself because she needs
Yeah.
to know how to do the chat room herself.
I'm not technical, Alan. You sound like a right geekatron. Lovely. I can't. You sound amazing.
No, listen, believe me, I am a total plank.
Well, you're doing amazing. Really.
Sandy and Sue is agreeing with you, so there's got to be some truth in there.
I'll agree with that one as well, Adam.
Sorry?
I'll agree with that one as well.
Yeah, I'll fit in. I've got Mr. Perfect.
Alan's a total technophobe.
Well, I can't even get to Wake Up UK yet. I've just done this.
If you said to Alan, copy and paste it, ask you where the glue is.
Yeah, all right. I know how to copy and paste and things like that, and I know little bits about it. But listen. I don't sit in front of a computer all day long like you, Jason, and kind of like do it as a living.
Yeah, I know.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There you go then. That's question answered in one. That's the golden.
I'm sure you cut grass much better than I do.
Me and Sue are left-handed.
That's the golden duck, John, and those are that fucking golden egg.
The goose.
I
The goose
find
lays the
it
golden
hard to do it on a laptop, on an iPad.
I'll talk you through it. We're bound.
You don't even know how to work bloody iPad.
Who?
You.
I know, switch it on.
Well, flip it, eh?
Well, you're not that brilliant on it.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but you can't, it's really hard to do on an iPad.
Anyway, John, thank you for joining us tonight. Before you go, is there anything anybody wants to ask you before you go?
Well,
are you all right for a little while longer, John?
No, it's okay. I'm all right for a couple of minutes.
I just could listen to you forever, John. You're just brilliant. I love listening to you.
Well, maybe John has questions to ask us, because it seems like John's in the hot seat all the time. But you know, John, have you got any questions to ask Alan, Sandy, Sue?
No, I mean, hopefully Alan and myself will get a sit down with Sean Atwood on a podcast, and he's good like that, Sean. So we'll get that going, and I think I'll try and share, because there's so many of these new podcasters that are springing up that are very, very professional. Because it's being seen now as a new income, podcasting, and they're doing a lot with this stuff with the gangsters and all that. But there's a big interest in the child abuse and the survivor element of it, and there really is. So what I'll do is I'll share the contacts I've got, because they're always asking me for new people to go on their show. You know, do you know people? Do you know people? So I'll quite happily do that, and just try and get on as many as them, and just broaden the do you know what I mean? The audience.
Yeah. I hope that things get a little bit better, so we can actually meet up ourselves, John, sometime this year.
Yeah, of course,
in the year, and have a get together, a meet up or whatever, even if it was Auntie Kim for a meal or something like that, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, I mean, I had to walk away from Facebook because it was so toxic, and it was just pointless. I just sat there and I thought, I'm wasting my time. I'm getting caught up in all this absolute nonsense. It didn't even warrant a response. It was just brain damage. It really was. And I thought, absolute load of old crap. And if anyone wants to believe it, it's entirely up to them. But I haven't got the patience or the time for that. And it was just ruining all the hard work. And it was just dirtying absolutely everything that myself and all of us had done in the past. And all we were doing, we was just picking up the pieces for people with unresolved trauma that decided to project all their inadequacies and all their hatred onto me. And I just said, no, that's it, no more. But, with that, when I said no, it had to be a unanimous no across the board, and that's why I will never, ever go back to running the foundation, to dealing with any sort of merchandise or anything like that, but it proved that the huge following that I did accrue, because people were interested in what was going on, and they truly were interested, and the reach was just global. It was absolutely global.
John, one of the things I will say now and tomorrow and forevermore, if people have got something to say, they only have to look at your figures. If you go
Yeah.
on YouTube and you just type in your name, and I don't know if it's still up or not, when you had your videos up,
Yeah.
they were in the thousands, and I mean in the thousands. So when people have got something to say, if they want to contribute and help, do something positive rather than the negative.
Well, look at that time when we was in Parliament Square. There was tens of thousands of people there. You know, every 5 meters, someone's going, "Thank you for what you do. Carry on doing it." Not one person said, "Oh, why don't you answer Brian Harvey's questions?" Or "Why don't you answer so and so?" Or "Why have you done?" Not one person, right?
And why should you?
Yeah,
Because I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want to go
the
back.
thing is, it wasn't representative of how the people were thinking.
Exactly.
The people were thinking, "He's a good man. He's doing good for us," and that's all it was. So, unfortunately, Facebook is a very cowardly thing, and it allows these people they overcook an argument. They take it, and they get caught up in themselves, and they don't understand fully what they're saying, and it just becomes a huge mess. But you know,
That
what
was
I
lovely
was
put,
doing,
actually, John, because that is very, very true and indicative to what's gone on. That how people have turned it. There's like a second agenda. Sorry, sir, I can see your hand up. I'll come to you in a second. And I can totally understand where you're coming from with that. It's like, why?
yeah. Well, let ask me the question: why would you do that? Why would you even, as a grown-up, do that?
Did you want to come in and say something before John goes?
Yes, I do. This is a message for you, John, from Jean,
All right.
because she came down last Saturday by taxi,
Oh my word.
and 140 quid,
Oh,
and she was in a bit of a state,
oh bless.
and she went back yesterday, hopefully better than she came here,
Oh yeah.
by taxi again.
Oh.
And she just wants me to tell you to send, because I spoke to her before I come on, send you her love, and she's
Oh
always
bless.
thinking about you.
Oh, good woman. She's such a good
Um,
woman, and when you hear what she's been through and what she continues to go through, it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Well, she's
know.
just she decided this week that, and she was here. Her granddaughter phoned up and she told her that she wants nothing more to do with her or her mum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a decision she had to make.
Yeah. Of course, I get it, and I'm fully behind her.
She's been through it too much, and
Yes, yeah.
she can't take no more. She needs peace of mind
Of course
at
she
her
does.
time of life.
Of course, I know. She's been through so much, and horrible what they've done. Horrible. Selfish
It's
people.
disgusting for her kids to
Oh.
treat her the way she has. But she's hopefully we're all going to go up to Scotland again for the children thing, and hopefully you'll be there.
Of course, I will come up for that. Yeah, you know.
And your Auntie Kim will be there
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. No, that's lovely what she's done there. That's lovely.
Yeah.
That is amazing, John, what she's done. Brilliant.
Oh well, you know, even with all them tombstones, I'm surprised they haven't done a program about that. You know.
Yeah, that needs a proper documentary doing on it, doesn't
It
it?
does, doesn't it? You know.
I wonder if you could probably get Netflix involved in that, John, because
Yeah, I'll speak to the lady that does the thing. I'll have a word
while
with
it
her.
still stands, John, the history in them houses, because them buildings, if they could speak, it's like when me and you were standing there and we was doing the Beast of the Bell Tower.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. The horrific scenes that went not too far away from where we were in the past, what actually happened in real life, were horrific.
Mm.
Yeah.
The BBC did come down the first time we did it, didn't they? They was there with us.
Yeah,
with
but
the first one.
This week we've had another two warriors come forward. One was abused by the Beast of the Bell Tower. This is a new claim against him. Oh fucking sorry, but we'll jail him again. He's going down there for this one. And then it's another. It was a girl that contacted me, and it was her partner's grandfather. and he was in Quarriers. So I was talking to her today, and she was the girl. She was saying it's about, you know, he's been telling her about the force feeding, and when you were sick, you'd eat your own sick, and the same thing with the 2-prong belt. You know, getting battered to shit out with that. So I've told the girl, goes, right, keep in contact. She's going to keep in contact us, and she's going to get a partner's grandfather to have a wee word with us, you know. So we'll give him the full support we can. We'll give him any support we can. That is my word. But I don't know, it just seems to be getting bigger. You know, over the last few months, there are more people coming forward now.
Yeah.
You know, but unfortunately, we lost one of our warriors there. She was 62, and you're talking about Facebook, and it was a thing that was taken out of context, like what I had done, and they just pounded on her. She couldn't take it, and she put a rope round her neck, hanged herself. So we lost one of our sisters. Now this is what these so-and-sos do.
They do, exactly.
And they don't know how bad they can take us just for taking things out of context. Because when you hit that send button on Facebook, there's thousands see it. And they don't care if they want to destroy us or what.
Also, you're going to get a lot of people that are perverts and they enjoy it. And you're going to get the Satanists that are on there and they enjoy it. They enjoy it. You've only got to look at their faces. They just wreck your hatred. And you can't. What's the point of reasoning with the unreasonable? You can't do it. So the thing is to disengage, but it is. I mean, I got a message through today from YouTube. You better watch your back. And I was like, oh, go away. You know, fuck off. And then you look at their thing. They're empty profiles, and they're all odd. They're very odd. But listen, I'm gonna have to go. But God bless. Lovely speaking to you again, Sandy. And Alan, I'll be in touch, Alan. I need to send you a book for Dave. Yeah. And Sue, I'll speak to you anyway in bits and pieces. And good luck, Lissy, with everything.
Yeah, and listen, John, I never paid a penny for that. You gave me that, and I have it for the dog food now. Sunday, I'll go on McDonald's, and I hope that I can come up to Scotland if I'm well enough, because I'll stand with you, you know.
All right, brilliant.
Well, hopefully we'll catch up later on in the year and we can get together like old times. It's always nice to be in your company, John, and I thank you very, very much for coming.
Well, God bless everyone.
And you, John, take care.
But you know where we are, John. If you want to come on, just jump on. He's gone.
Yeah.
And can I just say something to Sue? You know, when you were doing Beast at Bell Tower and everything, I watched all the lives. And I watched every single live, and I want to big up Sue because she was so beautifully lighting candles in such a delicate, beautiful way. You were, Sue. And I thought some of them were scented ones. I watched every single live, and I could even, without my hearing aids in, Sandy, understand every single word that you were saying. Because my dad were from Scotland, and there's a McDonald, so you're not a Campbell. And, you know, joke, but I listened to everything about, you know, Quarriers, and Sue has educated me so much, my friend. And, you know, all the Highland cows and that, it were like I were there. And it was sunny then when it were raining down here when you were there. It was brilliant, beautiful.
The weather that time soon didn't come up, Alan. It was beautiful, the weather. We couldn't ask for any more.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
it was lovely. I mean, I couldn't believe that we were in Scotland because I thought it was going to be raining and pouring down the whole time we were there.
Yeah, well, the last one we did, when you was there, Alan, we went out that night, and we went to this back road, pitch black, and some idiot set off some rockets. One didn't go.
Right over Quarriers,
and the other one went, and then a car came up, and we was all hiding so they couldn't see our faces.
And we were all pointing at Sue.
But what he forgot anyway was they could have took the fucking car registration number. You know, but
I
I love that.
I've got to say something. Linda is putting stuff in the chat room, and if Linda wants to come on and if she wants to say something, I don't know what she's trying to say in the chat room. She's left lots of messages on there. I don't know what she's trying to say. It's a bit strange sometimes. It's hard to work Linda out. She's quite welcome to jump on the show if she wants to, because we're still going for a little while longer. If Linda wants, you can hear me, is listening to the show, and wants to jump on. I don't get some of the comments she's put in the chat room. So if she wants to come on and explain a little bit better to us while we're still on, we're still going. There's no show after us, so we've got a little bit longer, guys. If anybody wants to jump on, they're quite welcome to.
As long as you need, as long as you need, Alan.
And as Jason just said, is as long as you want it. So if anybody else wants to jump on, they're more than welcome to jump on and carry on in the show. And I think that's an open to anybody out there. Who's this coming in there?
I'm surprised Martin ain't on.
No, he's not come on at all tonight. I'm just surprised by. I just think it's brilliant that John's been on, and
Yeah.
it's always nice to see John.
I was so glad I phoned him today.
Yeah, well done, Sue. You've done good, girl.
I'm going to say good night because I've got to go and play with my dog because my husband's geeking around. And I want to say, sorry, good night and thank you for having me. And I'll learn from you about all that technical malarkey.
Well, Jason's the man to speak to because Jason is absolutely brilliant. I don't like following
Well,
these.
did I get hold of you, Jason?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. You can find me on there.
Wake Up UK, where it says, can you see it on the screen?
Hang on.
Wakeup.net.
Have you got a pen
I
and
can only
paper?
see you.
Have you got a pen and paper there, Lizzie?
Right, let me just take a screenshot of that. I can do that
Okay.
on my
So,
little phone.
yeah,
Hang on.
the website is wakeupuk.net.
I've got it. Okay, so I email you and you can help me at some point, yeah?
Yeah, if you go on the website, my phone number's on the top and my email's on the top of the website.
Okay,
So
thank you very much.
feel free to call me if you need any help using the site.
There you are. Let's see that answers your question because actually is a bit of. I don't like pulling these chain at the best of times because he might not ever get out of the room.
Well, I want to contribute as well and pay and do that and everything, but at the moment, I'm just need to get me sent to bed.
He's not a bad lad.
That's not.
He's not a bad lad, but he's interesting.
Lizzie.
Well, my dog's shuffling,
More
he's got
important,
arthritis,
Lizzie,
I've got
more
to go.
important than anything else is your participation doing this, what you're doing right now.
Yeah, well, I like to contribute as well. It's my way, and my dog's just shuffling around with arthritis.
Right, well, I'll phone you tomorrow, Lissy.
We'll
It's
talk
normal.
about deep fat fryers and things or whatever. Air
Thank you,
fryers.
Lissy. Thanks for coming on the show.
Love you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
And then it was free.
Linda's just written that she can't get
Anyone
in.
want
Have
to
you,
buy a double oven?
Adam,
Anyone
did Linda try and get in? She's written here that she can't get in to you. So.
I don't know why she can't get in because she's not coming up on the screen as a participant.
Linda, try it again and we'll
I
hit
did
the button and bring
say,
you
good. I want Sue to stay in because staying for a little while, Sue.
in. Maybe you missed Linda trying to join
I
in.
don't think so. You three have got a lot to answer for, remember that.
I just don't understand what Linda's trying to say in the chat
Sue,
room.
remember
so
you're co-host on here as well, Sue. So you.
well, Sue knows she's co-host. She can look at the chat room. She can do a lot of things.
If I could, but I can't do it on my iPad.
Yes, she
Keep
can.
telling you this.
Yes, she can.
I've tried.
You click on, tap on the screen and click on participants, and you see who's in the room, who's coming in, everything.
Can you see that at the bottom of the screen where it says in green at the bottom?
I can see Sue Peak.
AJ
Wake
said
up
he's
UK.
got AJ's suffering with toothache, otherwise he would join. But AJ, you're welcome to come on maybe next week and have a chat. You want to come on next week? That's no problem at all. Hopefully you feel better then. Nothing
Yeah,
worse than
see,
toothache, is
underneath
there?
the pictures, you've got mute, stop video, security, participants, there's 4. Chats is 1. And
Yeah,
then
you're on a
screen
computer.
recording
It's,
is 1.
it's different on the
On
mobile
mine,
phone,
it's got that me, Wake Up, Alan, Sandy. On the bottom, it says invite, mute all, ask all.
Yeah, and if you click on a person's name, there's all sorts of things you can do. You can mute them, you can remove them, add them, rename them, all sorts.
So can she mute me?
Yes, you could. No, actually, no, I don't know because you're both co-hosts.
Oh,
But I think she can mute Sandy.
Oh, so did you know that you could mute Sandy?
Don't kick him out though. Don't kick Sandy out.
See that at the top set, Sue? At the top of where you are on your picture, if you go to the top right-hand corner, there's a mute and 3 dots. Can you see that? If you get the hand, go up to the top right-hand corner. Can you see that? Does yours do that?
Right, it says raise hand, security, record to the cloud, chat, meeting settings, minimize meeting, virtual background, disconnect audio, and then some pictures.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I've got mute, stop video,
See,
chat.
that's
pin.
why it's so hard on the iPad.
Who's just come in?
Linda's. You got that Linda in?
Oh, she's in. I'll let her in.
Okay.
Let's see what Linda's got to say. You there, Linda? Are you there?
I'm there, look. I've never been daft and bloody stupid.
I can't make out what you were saying in the chat room, darling. So
I have never been daft and stupid. Right? I've got my own heartaches. I'm with the veterans when they went out in 2019 on D notices. Right? I didn't know, well, I do know, I live in fucking Rotherham. Every time they put Rotherham on the news, it's a sad place to live in. I'm a happy woman. I've got 2 beautiful children, 4 grandsons. I've done my bit, and I'm bloody retired with bad knees. And I got ME 20 years ago. I worked for 30 years. I had to find out, I've been so ill at times, but when I hear about something, I got myself fit and ready to come out. And
yeah, what I'm saying, Linda, is in the chat room tonight, you've been saying, hang on, let me see if I can get it up.
John's a fucking paid fucking gatekeeper. Because I've been on here longer than you have.
Okay, with that, you will not be welcome on my show again.
Thank you.
Oh.
I'm still, you're still there, Sandy?
Yeah, still there, bro.
I've just told her and put her straight that she's not welcome on my show. She's going to slag a personal friend of mine off. All I've ever seen the guy do is good things. I've seen him do a lot of podcasts and interview a lot of people and try to give people a platform and try to help them. And then when Linda comes in the chat room and starts putting negative things in, I'm trying to run the show properly. We'll get people to what John was doing, basically trying to speak up about child abuse and so on and so forth. So yeah, Sue's gone off now. I don't know where Sue's gone.
But if people's got a personal problem, let them sort it out between themselves. Don't come on to anyone's show and start doing that. That's I don't you know. I know for a fact if I was doing it and somebody done that a bit by.
But I did say to you before that sometimes it's like she almost gets inebriated. She likes to drink in the evening because she does sound like she comes across a bit worse for the wear of a drink. That's how she comes across. Whether she's got a bit of a speech problem or not, I don't know. But I've just made it quite clear that she won't be welcome on here again. So next time she goes to come on the show, she won't be admitted because there's a co-host and you're a co-host. You can admit and delete and not let people in. You can mute people. Now, if I want to as co-host, I can mute you. But it all depends who's coming in.
I'll let Sue back in. The thing is, Alan, it's hard to find that fine line between allowing people, because obviously we've got to allow people their right to have an opinion and express it and have free speech, but at the same time, one thing I've always encouraged on here is a bit of manners, a bit of respect, and a bit of diplomacy, and to deliver your argument in a constructive way. And if someone comes on and says, look, I've got concerns, these are my concerns, these are why I've got these concerns, and can I ask you these questions, I would encourage people to answer those questions, and not to hit the eject button. But if someone comes in and says, this person's a fucking this and a fucking that, it's kind of straight away, you're onto a losing battle, because straight away, it's all guns blazing, you know, and rarely does anything get solved that way. But
Is that directed at me or is that directed at Linda?
no, that's directed at Linda more than the way she came
Yeah,
in.
but she's not done it.
Bullish,
She's done it on more than one occasion,
you know what?
Jason.
If Linda had come in and said, "Look, okay, I'm not a fan of John, and this is the reason why I'm not, and these are the questions I've got."
Well, I did say
can
that.
I ask these questions? You know what? I would like to see that you would say, "Look, that's a fair."
Well, she didn't do that. She had the opportunity to do that. I let her in the first place,
I know,
and then in the second time, I let her in a second time because
Yeah.
I was looking at her comments and I couldn't make out what she was trying to say. So I gave her a chance to come on and say what she was going to say.
Yeah.
And she started talking about the veterans, and she started talking about.
She was a bit random with that. Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's nothing to do with what you were saying in the chat room and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I've noticed other people and other hosts have noticed it as well. You know, all well and good, and people are entitled to an opinion. But like John was saying earlier on, if people are going to ask questions that are not relevant, you know, things that happened in the past is in the past. We unfortunately, we're not in a time machine. We can't go back. Whatever happened,
like I said, it's a fine balance between allowing a person to express a concern and allowing a person just to be bullish and aggressive and like coming all guns blazing.
Don't you think I handled that?
No. I would have done probably what you've done, Alan. You know.
Well, that's what I did. I'm sorry.
But at the same time, I would have
rejected her.
I would have
rejected her on the grounds. Hang on a minute. Sandy wants to say something. Hang on. Let me just go make myself a cup of tea, and then Sandy, you can have 5 minutes gone.
I would have probably done what Alan did there,
Right.
but I would have also said, look, you're welcome to come back another time, but maybe come in at a lower, like more sort of with more manners. You know, if you've got a concern, ask it, but do it in a way that is not going to be like.
Sue went out at the wrong time there because it all kicked off just as Sue lost contact. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. My grandson wanted me to put some money in his bank.
Oh God!
You
missed it all there.
Can you tell me what happened?
I've got to step away a second to go and sort my dinner out. Back in a minute.
Sandy, tell her what. I'm going to have a wee and make myself a drink.
Right, no bother. I'd like to give a wee special mention to Kath tonight for making a lovely job of your hair, Alan. It's absolutely stunning. See what a job she done. So well done, Kath. And another wee quick mention, if anybody's listening,
you behave yourself.
If anyone's looking for an electric cooker, you can either contact any one of us here. We'll put you in the right person. Guaranteed brilliant cookers.
Yeah, I'll start up my bloody own shop. How can I have free cookers in my flipping kitchen?
Dan, you've got to tell Sue what happened just now and how I kicked her off. But I mean, tell her what happened because she said something about John, didn't she? Tell her.
Yeah, she's a wee bit out of order. Me personally, you know, I'll say to her face, as soon as she come on, I knew that woman's been drinking. I think she'd been having a wee bit too much, but she did come on attacking John. Anybody would have done the same if they were running a show. They would have went bye-bye. You know, because
I just said something. You know what I'm like.
When people come on here and they're drunk, they get the balls and they'll just keep going and going and going till something explodes. No, you're personally to me, and I don't want to say out the wrong context or whatever, but the best thing to do with people like that is just click them right off. Don't even let them say another word. Get rid of them. Because if you don't, I'll only snowball. You know?
Did John, so what happened?
Well, John, thank God John was away at the time, but she just started gunning for him. You know, so he's a gatekeeper, blah, blah, blah. Boom, boom, boom.
See, I can't keep my mouth shut.
So, you know, I don't.
They attack John, I feel like they're attacking me.
Because it only takes one bad apple in the barrel, and that triggers off the rest. And you know what happened to me the other week? You know, nah, I don't take a shit no more. I've thought about this.
No,
I don't take crap like
I
that.
mean,
but
you know, everyone's told you either. It's like Marmite. You either love it or hate it. The same with John. But please, just why be so? Some people can be so vehement in the way they say things, and I won't tolerate that.
No,
I
no,
won't.
I
I've had
hate.
some on, you know, when he did this podcast the other night. And I've been called a John Wedger stalker. You know, how I'm stalking you, John. You know, and why is it always you standing up for him? I said, because I believe in him.
I was listening to John earlier there, and he was talking about, you know, folk going, he's going to get stabbed and whatnot. I had that as well the other week there, with this clown. And then it was if I don't get if I can't get you, I'll get Jane. You know, so it was all these niggly things, and it does upset me. And then they're coming in about Jane's hands. That was a big no-no. That's the lowest of scum. If you've got to snoop to somebody's disability, then no, I don't know. And I mean,
Sorry to interrupt you. I've just seen there's a guy called Tony Jackson in the waiting room. I don't know who that is, but
Oh
I'm
yeah,
bringing
you
them
can
in.
let him in.
Okay, you know who that is. Yeah. Is it Brian Clare?
No, it's Martin.
Oh, Martin. Yeah, I remember he was on before. Yeah. Yeah, sorry for disappearing on you. I was just dishing up my bowl of bolognese here. So.
They'll get you. I could
Yeah,
have cooked it
I
on.
can
I
cook
could have cooked
too.
it on one of my free cookers.
Say that
Friday
again,
and
Sue?
Friday, by the way, Sue.
What?
Friday. We had a great wee afternoon.
Yeah, I know,
Jason
but I
and I.
wasn't well.
Oh yeah, we had a good afternoon on Friday. We had Sandy playing DJ, playing some songs. Yeah, it was pretty good.
That was
Yeah, no.
brilliant. That we chat along down memory lane when we were young. You know.
Hello, Martin. Put your picture up.
I don't know how to do it.
Look
Are you on a
the
mobile
video
phone,
camera.
Martin, or are you on a PC?
No, I'm on my all-in-one. What do I do?
If you look at the bottom of the screen at the left, you might see a thing that says start video.
Yeah.
You may need to tap the screen to do that. There you go.
There you go.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Oh, turn it off. Turn it off again.
You're really late because you just missed John.
You did.
Oh, I've missed John Wedger, have I?
Yeah.
Oh, did he ask where I was? I bet you didn't even mention.
No, he didn't even mention you. No, he didn't even mention you because you weren't even here.
Well, I woke up. I've just been in bed all day. You know, like How are you, Sewage? How's your tooth? Are you all right? You getting better?
Yeah, it's a lot better, thanks. I've been on penicillin and I have a few niggles now and again, so just stick some oil of cloves on it.
Is Jean still there? Or has she gone home?
She's gone home.
You know what I was going to say? Lizzie Mason is a very kind woman. She took you to the hospital. She's got a heart of gold, hasn't she? She really has.
Yeah.
She's really a kind woman. Really, really kind.
Yeah.
I did a video chat about her the other day. What was I going to say? No, because I woke up late and, you know, like, I was talking, you know, when I was talking, you left the room. When I was talking to Delroy the other night about...
yeah, you said.
Yeah, well, I looked on the internet to see if the stories are still out there, and they are. And there's still pictures of me in the same Daily at the Sun and all these papers, right? But it is a magistrate's court, because I checked to see what he was saying, and I was charged in the magistrate's court. So everything that Delroy said, that man is brilliant. I didn't know the ins and outs of the law, but he was telling me things that I've never heard of. So I was really pleased that I could link in with somebody that's got common sense like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I didn't know, as I told Leroy, the RSPC officer, she was lying for her Delroy, yeah. I said that she was lying for her teeth, which she was. She came with the police. And as I said to them, to Delroy and to everyone in the room, that they were seized on the 29th of March 2018, right? And then in April, I find out her mum's got bowel cancer, right? So the doctor comes and they did blood tests and everything. They said, she's definitely got cancer. And I said, well, can you operate? He said, no, it wouldn't work. She's so thin, if we tried to open her up, she'll die immediately, right? And then in June or July, she got ill again, taken into Beechholme Hospital to find out that she had lung cancer. And the doctor rang me, he said, would you sign a form that if she dies, we're not to resuscitate her? And I said, why? He said, because she's so thin, if we try to resuscitate her, we'll break her ribs. So I signed the form reluctantly. But, you know, I was telling everyone about what was going on. Hello, Jane. Could you hear me? So I was just telling people about what was going on. And I said to Delroy, now the charge has been, I've served my time, I paid my fine, so does that mean, he said they should clear your records, but when I try to go for another dog, you see now we're in such a state, even if I found a dog that I like, you can't leave the area, we're all stuck. I was saying that to Delroy, we're all in a prison, but we don't know it.
I'd go where I want, I'll take no notice.
But the thing is, if you try and go on a train, they'll stop you, and then they'll fine you a lot of money. We're in a prison. I said that the other night, and I was right. So how's John Wedger getting on? Because
He's all right. I was reading, because I spoke to him earlier, and I said, we're going on. I said, come on with us. He said, all right, send me the link and I'll come on. And Jason sent him the link and he came on. He was on till 9 o'clock. Yeah, he was really good.
oh, there's Mr. Merritt. Hello, Alan. How are you? Are you listening? Can you hear?
Yeah, sorry about that. Am
Yeah.
I unmuted? Have I unmuted myself? Yeah, I have. Yeah, sorry about earlier on, guys. And I'll say the same to the people in the chat room. If anybody feels aggrieved in what I did earlier on, then I can only apologise. But I've known this guy that we were speaking with earlier on the show for quite a few years, and I've never found anybody bring any proof or evidence that he's a gatekeeper or anything of the sort. And then when Linda started calling him a gatekeeper, and I trying to make out, I knew she was trying to do something in the chat room because I was having a glimpse at the chat room and looking back over the chat room comments and trying to say hi to the guys like Spearthrow and the rest of the guys in the chat room and all who's in there, and AJ.
Has she gone out the chat room?
Not American.
Has she gone out the chat room now?
I kicked her out.
Out of everything.
I told her she can't come on my show anymore.
Have you had a problem tonight, then, Alan? Has someone been rude or abusive?
Yes, she was calling John a gatekeeper.
What does that mean, a gatekeeper?
Well, that they're in some way, shape, or form still involved in what's going on with.
Yeah. Can I just address what Sue just said about is she kicked out of the chat room? The answer is no, she's not. She's welcome to stay in the chat room, but when it comes to joining the live streams, that is a prerogative of the live stream host, which in this case is Alan. So it's Alan's call whether a person is welcome to join it. Let's have a look. I'm not sure.
And where was Nikki Lowry tonight? Was she on it as well?
Nikki Lowry?
No,
Jackie.
Jackie Lowry, yeah. Was she on it tonight?
I can't see
her tonight.
I can't see her. I can't see her in the chat room.
Leroy Delroy.
Because to be honest with you, if she was on in future, I would go off because she's always seems to be drinking, and she goes on about the same thing, and I can't be bothered to listen to it, to be honest.
Yeah, I get that, Sue, and but that's on the level of her being part of the live stream with you and Alan. But when it comes to the actual chat room side of things,
that's
a person wouldn't be removed from the chat room unless there was a consensus of opinion amongst other members that weren't happy with someone being there. And then
But Jay, if you look over the comments that she was putting up, she was having a little bits of a dig in the chat room, and I didn't want to say anything live because we were doing a live stream. You know,
I think that was
trying to hold a little bit of dignity when I'm doing a live stream and trying to behave myself. And okay, we do mess about and we do have a bit of a laugh sometimes on Wake Up UK, and we try to have a bit of banter and Jackie show and so on and so forth. But I will not have people speak about people in a manner they don't know that person to criticize that person in the way that she has done. She has no qualifications and no proof or right to say the things she said. It's wrong morally, and I'll tell you what, if I'm wrong for what I've done, then
I'm not saying you're wrong for what you've done in any way, shape, or I would have done the same thing.
I mean, if Sandy was listening at the same time, Sandy heard every word. He was there. He heard it all. So if I'm wrong, Sandy, I'd hope will back me up.
Yeah, I would have done
Well,
the same thing, Alan.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that I wasn't in the room because
Well,
I wouldn't have been able to keep my mouth shut.
Go on, Sandy, you
Sorry.
want something to say? Some, mate.
well, we've all told you, Alan. We would have done the same. Oh, that's that. I want to change this a wee bit. Earlier on, I was listening to about this, where people when they're in the hospital, with this oxygen. I just after receiving a message from a daughter, Debbie, and she was taken into hospital with a tumour. And the next thing, she's got corona. And this is her now, she's telling us they've got her in oxygen and she's finding it very difficult to speak now. She's getting these pains in her chest.
She's got pneumonia.
But Ramona? Ramona, I can't even say that word right. But
Pneumonia.
thank you, Alan, for
With a P.
Pardon?
I'm thick, but I know it begins with a P.
That's oh, bugger. We'll score that. It doesn't begin with an R.
Yeah. Sorry, Bob. Can I have a P, please?
Cheers, by the way.
I've
You
taken
take
all
your
mine.
medicine. You take your medicine.
Oh, shit.
See my cup.
Yeah, ladyship, yeah.
I
I thought he was going to come on earlier, Martin.
No, I was in bed all day. I felt really I've got, as I told you, I've got irritable bowel syndrome, and sometimes I feel like absolute. Well, I feel worn out, and it's not my fault.
It takes it out of you, does it? Not literally, not literally. I mean, I don't wasn't meant as a funny.
It does. This woman, is she the same woman that kicked out the room? Is she the same woman that contacted me, and her name's something, and she's got an Italian surname?
No.
The one, and she contacted me twice, and she was drunk on both occasions.
Yeah, no, it's not a.
Which one is this? What's this woman called? What's her name?
Linda.
Oh,
Is her name Hardy, Jason?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Oh, because I see
No, can't you block her in future, Alan, on coming on your show? It's your show.
No,
Martin,
Martin,
what
that's
I
what
do is normally what I do is co-host. I admit people into the show that want to come on and jump on the show.
Can I have to explain, Martin?
And I was giving her a chance because I've seen her before and I've heard all this before and I've seen it on other shows. And in actual fact, I think Jackie might have kicked her off one of the shows, if I'm right in one song. And she nearly kicked off one night when Jackie was a guest on my show or our show, and she turned around and said, "Give your gob a rest." And I thought, well, don't say that to Jackie. Jackie will hit the roof when you say something like that to her.
Yeah, I think that did happen once before, Alan. But I just want to answer Martin as far as blocking people. And Martin, when anyone on here does a live stream, as you know from joining yourself, there's a waiting room that you go into when you try and join. And it's down to the host of the show to bring the person in or to not bring them in. And I leave that down to the host to do that.
Was John Wedger in? Did he hear what she was saying?
John Wedger had left. So it's Alan's in full control of who he has on and doesn't have on. But the same applies to every host. So Alan may decide not to let Linda on, and a person the following night may be quite happy to have her on.
Yeah.
And if Linda,
and they're quite free and they're quite within their right. And I hear everything you're saying, Jason. And then later on down the line, I might have her on. But at the same time, in the same token, if Sue watches the show back tomorrow and hears and sees the way she carried on and looks in the chat room and can get to that stage, what I said to her is, if you talk her through it one day and have a one-to-one with her, then you can talk her through it and show her how to do it. And then she'd be more a part, because if Sandy's going to do his own show, then Sue can participate even more in the show and be more of it. And then there's times then I can leave Sue to do a couple of interviews herself.
Alan.
Well, I was a bit pissed off when you lot fucking left me with her for fucking God knows how long. Yeah, load of plugs. And I can't get you back now.
Well, you was actually quite handling yourself quite well, and I thought you was doing right. And I thought what I was doing was
shut up! You just didn't want to listen. The fucking lot of you don't even sit there giving me your bullshit. All
Look,
right.
you've got to remember, Sue, we're live, so just be careful what you're saying,
I'm
because
sorry.
people might not like the way your tone comes across. They might not turn around and say, "Oh, she's a bit bolshy." Just be careful.
Yes.
We are going live to lots of people.
Oh well, I'm sorry if I've upset anybody, but
Yes.
that's me. And the thing is, you did leave me in the lurch, the lot of you, and I was calling Jason, and Jason
No,
wasn't listening.
what I've done is no. To be fair, I left you and Sandy as my co-host responsible for the show, because I had to go off to see to my wife Kathy. So I thought the appropriate time when Linda was going on and she was on one, I thought, what a time to leave the show. And I thought, if anybody can cope, it'd be Sue Lorraine Peake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm guilty as charged, Your Honour.
and that's Sandy and Jason.
Well, all I've got to say is I could have stayed on there all night listening to it, but I get fed up with you, Sue.
Bastards.
That slapped out. I know. My New Year's resolution was to tell the truth.
That's all right, Sandy, because when I get up to Scotland, mate, you've had it. You know it. And Jane can't wait for me to get up there.
It's because you've got your wee fancy coffee night.
Yes, because I'm a ladyship.
That's it. Not many
No.
folk do that about you, do they?
No, they don't. See, I have that cup, and I've got me china teacup and saucer up in my bedroom with me kettle and me tea bags and me coffee and me sugar.
And 3 cookers in the kitchen.
Yeah, 3 cookers in the kitchen. Oh my
It's
God.
like I'm just looking in the chat room now, and I've got Spear Thrower in there still, and Roy. Always should be a troll-free show. Roy said, "I've got a lot of time for Roy." He's okay. Spear Thrower. There is 1 or 2 people who've got their suspicions about John. I don't know why. And coming back to this AJ Lashbrook, he's turned around and said, "I have some very serious questions for John, but they will be asked at the right time and at the right place." Now, I don't know what that's all about, and if he's still in the chat room and he wants something to say, he can say it, or he can jump on the stream. And Spear Throw is saying, I'm twiggered. What's that ever that mean? TWIGGERED?
So you know what, Alan? I mean, I don't think questions are necessarily a bad thing if they're done in the right way.
No.
Because everything should be allowed to be under scrutiny. Because what world do we live in if nothing's under scrutiny or things are not allowed to be questioned?
No.
And
But
sometimes the people that have got those questions or them concerns may have them concerns relieved if they get an answer that satisfies their question.
well, okay. So have you known, on a presumption of somebody saying something, do you judge somebody?
Well, no, but when you've got a presumption, the best way to solve a presumption is to actually get to ask the question, and then you replace the presumption with a fact.
Well, I don't blame John for not wanting to speak to people that want to put him on the spot for something that is not relevant.
No, I get what you're saying. There is. Right, you've got to draw the distinction between.
And how I'm not being backed up here, I don't know.
Hang on,
No,
I'm just going to say something.
Alan, don't feel like you're not being backed up. What I'm trying to say is there's trolling, which is done just for drama. We know that goes on. But also, sometimes people have got valid questions or concerns. And sometimes when they've got a valid question or a concern, they can be dismissed as just being a troll. And often
Some people do it in a different way, Jason. Some people do it in a different way. They will leave a remark or not so much a question, but a comment.
Yeah. So like I said, it's a fine line, but to decide whether someone's a troll or just someone that's got a concern.
We've gone for 2 years, right? Now for 2 years.
Which Spearthrow would jump on. Spearthrow can jump on if he wants. If he's out there listening, Spearthrow can jump on, and maybe because he's quite an intelligent man, and he can put a bit different perspective on it. And he can, if I'm wrong, I'm going to put my hand up and say I'm wrong.
You see, the thing is, in the past, Alan, I've had people that I've considered just to be trolls, and some of those people I now talk to, and partly the reason we talk is because we've actually got to the point where if we're going to share the same space online, you know, you can't keep fighting each other. You've got to actually talk and sort out where the issue is, you know. And it might be that that person's got a concern, and then they ask you a question, and then you answer the question, and then that alleviates their concern. Or it might be that they've got a valid concern, which may change what you do or say or how you do things, because they've actually got a valid point, and you learn from. See, there's such a thing as constructive criticism, okay? And if you don't listen to it, sometimes the lessons you might not learn, okay? So to dismiss anyone that is seen as kind of against you as a troll, you know, blindly without actually hearing them sometimes means that often you might not hear that constructive criticism, you know. So it's a fine line between trolling and someone that just doesn't agree with you, and it's not a valid concern.
Very good point, Jason. No, honestly, I agree with 100% of what you just said, and I agree what Spearthrower and AJ are actually saying. I've got nothing against them, and I just like, if somebody wants to say something, say it, or come on the show and say whatever you want to say it, and they're still welcome to jump on AJ or Spearthrower. Welcome, you know. Look, I'm not academically the most gifted person in the world, and my spelling and reading and writing is not good, right? I managed to do what I do, and you say to me, I'm not no technical whiz. What I learn and what I do is, I don't know how I've done it, because Beechholme didn't give me the gift of an education. I don't care what anybody says. Some people went through Beechholme and had a good education. But it's the same sort of thing of what you're all saying now. Go on, sorry, Sue. You want to say something?
Right. Now, for 2 years, we've been following John. We've been with John since he started, right? All through these 2 years, we've had people asking these questions, you know, and that. And I've said to them all along, and I will still say, give me 100% against John. What you've got against John. Nobody has ever been able to come up with it. All you get is, all right, no, he didn't have a charity. He was setting one up, and he was let down. Right now, Louise Dickens was setting a charity up for him, right? Which she was doing. But she was also taking money from his thing. And I know for a fact that she was, when he was doing his merchandise, and people were saying, why was he getting merchandise with his face and everything on? He was doing that to earn money so that he could go out doing these testimonies where he was going all over the country, because it's expensive, right?
Just say one quick thing, Sue, before you go. There was a time as well that the Manchester police, there was another police whistleblower, a Manchester, what was her name?
Maggie Oliver.
Maggie Oliver. Now, Maggie Oliver was struggling with funds.
Yeah.
John got donated some money for his cause, and John was giving money to some of the victims, right? Let's not use that word. Some of the survivors. And Maggie Oliver was struggling in a court case or a case or whatever. And did not John give her so much money?
Yeah, the person, I was on the thing when it was done, offered him £5,000. And he actually told that person he cannot take it because he's not charity. You know, could they give it to Maggie Oliver?
Yeah.
Right? So then, as I say, he was doing the merchandise. Now,
Yeah.
Louise Dickens was taking care of that.
Yeah.
Right? And Louise, what happened was that Louise was taking money off of people for merchandise, right? And she didn't. And John had to go at her because he said you can't take their money if you haven't got the goods. But she still took the money.
Yeah.
And also, where she had taken over helping John, she was doing the northeast or the north, and he was doing down, so that would help him. She was on his thing, so she could do all his emails, which she was doing, right? So John didn't see the emails, right? Now, in these, what she was actually doing was asking people to put it into her account, not, you know, it wasn't going into John's. She was putting her account down, and John had caught her a few times out of doing this because he didn't know what was going on at first. And then there's and I've got it where someone had ordered some stuff, and she said, "Oh, can you put it into my account?" And he said, "No, I'll put it in John's account." And she got the ump with him over it. And this happened a few times. So she was taking money. He gave money, and I'll name them because I don't care. Gave money to Nicky Cooper. He gave money to Jeanette Archer. He gave money to Jenny Grace. He gave money to Sean Kelly. He gave money to the bloke
I'll come to you in a minute, Mike.
was living in the van, in the car, right? So they say, oh, he gets this much money. He didn't get loads and loads like they're saying, but he gave it out to people, to survivors, to help them. He's taken food to survivors. And
When you say the man living in the car, that wasn't John Manoa,
where
was
he's
it?
having to go all over the country. What about petrol money?
So.
And things like that. What about when he had like the security? Right now, I know for a fact in Trafalgar Square, someone came up and gave John £100 donation, and he handed it straight over to the security to help them with their petrol costs.
So when you said he gave money to somebody that was living in their car, that wasn't John Manoa, was it?
Who?
A guy called John Manoa from New Zealand?
No, it was a bloke called Billy.
Right, okay.
But you know, for the amount that he had coming in, he was giving it out. Yes, he was taking things, you know, for expenses, which he was entitled to. And there was a bloke, and his name's Danny Kerr, and he was actually, Alan got involved with him first, and he became friends with me. And he seemed such a nice bloke, right? And then he said to me one day, what about John's charity? And I explained what had happened, and it was in the process of being set up. And he said, well, I can get an accountant and set it all up. So I said, well, it's being done. And I got on to Louise Dickens because she was dealing with it. Now, she came out with, there's two ways of doing it. You can either be a registered charity and something, and then she said another name. Well, I don't know nothing about these. She said,
yeah, that would have been a registered charity or a community interest company called a CIC.
Might have been that.
Because the thing is, to become a registered charity, you can't just set up from day one with no accounts, no income, and say, I want to get a registered charity number. It doesn't work like that. You've got to apply to the Charities Commission. You need to show a set of trading books and show an income and show your activity. You've got to have like different people in different positions within the organisation. You can't just go, give me a number. I want to be a charity. On day one. It's not as easy as that. You need to have money coming in. I think you have to raise a certain amount before you can even apply. Well, that's how it used to be. You know, I don't know whether it is that way. It may have changed now, but
what was it,
Sandy may know different and maybe able to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But
Jay, can Sandy come in a second?
Yeah, go on, Sandy. I'm mute, mate.
I'm mute, Sandy.
Right, sorry. To set up a charity, you've got to first contact the charity regulation. Well, in Scotland, it's the charity regulators of Scotland.
Right.
And then you go through. You're asked to visit them. It was up in Dundee, because I ran a charity for a number of years. It was for kids with life-threatening conditions, and we had to do that. But you can run a charity that you don't need to register, but you've got to have every receipt.
That's right. You're right. Yeah.
Every penny you spend,
Yeah.
you have that receipted.
Yeah.
I can confirm that as well because I set a charity up about 10 years ago.
So what have you got to do to get registered?
Beer will know.
Is it a certain number, a certain
Yeah,
length
to
of time, or
get
a certain
registered,
income?
you need
Or?
to start with a certain amount of income.
Right.
You need a bank account.
Yeah.
You need the committee running the charity and obviously sort of like meetings, minutes of the meetings and things like that. But the registering of a
It's a little
charity, I
bit
think
strange. It's almost like self-assessment when you're working for yourself. You've got to keep everything legal and all your receipts and everything.
Yeah.
In case the taxman says, "Well, what have you been spending your money on?"
Yeah, well, when I started the charity up here, all I needed was for a secretary, treasurer, blah blah, you know, a committee sort of thing. But we all done this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We never took a penny out of this. But we'd have the committee set up and we'd have a bank account. That was the only things. We didn't need to have money in it. We didn't need any money in whatsoever. They did ask how we intend to raise funds, which we're done through holding tribute nights and various odds and ends and events, blah, blah, blah. That was good enough. We got our charity number and, well, I took note well. And the charity, but I was in, that's another story for a rainy day. But
the whole point, Sandy, is we were talking about John and what he was going through and so on and so forth. And not the actual, you know, we're not that interested in setting up a charity. We're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you hear me out here, now with John, he wasn't set up as a charity. He's entitled to do that. But every receipt that he spent, he would need to have that verified because he can be called upon at any time and go, right.
Yeah.
They know how much you've put in. They're no daft.
But the thing is,
so you've got to be accountable for that money. What are you doing with it?
Yeah.
But that's if you're claiming you're a charity. But if you're being upfront and honest and saying to people, look, you know, this is funding my activities, travelling to various places, or my costs in having meetings around the country, and to do that, I need to travel, I need accommodation.
Okay, what a better way of saying it, Jason?
So if you're upfront about that, people choose to donate in the full knowledge because you've told them that money may be spent on those things. Then there's a level of transparency there that, you know, it's good. If you're
because these people let him down in the beginning. He was called the John Wedger Foundation, right? But it wasn't stated he was a registered charity. It was never stated.
People took the presumption.
And as I say, with Louise, she was doing his emails. People were donating through them emails, and she was taking them. Right, John never even see them emails, and because he'd had his face put on his merchandise.
Martin wants to come in, so let's Martin get a word in if he can.
I spoke
hang on. Should we let Sue finish first, though, Alan?
No, but I know Sue, but he's been.
Yeah, you cut Sue off. You cut Sue off.
I'm gonna try and get everybody in because I want to come back to spear throw as well.
Yeah, but you cut Sue off mid-sentence.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go on,
Yeah.
Sue. Finish off.
Because he had his pictures put on his merchandise, right? And then people were criticising him for that, right? Always criticising. Now, as I say, they've got no proof. And I know just a few of them that I've named. He's given to others. And as I say, I saw him at Trafalgar Square. I saw the man give him the money. I saw him give it to the security straight away, you know, to help them because of their travel expenses, because obviously he wasn't paying them and they were doing it, you know, and people are too, because he won't answer to them, because he isn't doing anything wrong. And nobody has brought up, give me 100% proof against John. Nobody can do that, you know, and it's all trolling. It's all nastiness. And I will defend John to the end, because John is not a bad person. When I went up to London, I was the only one that went up there, apart from, what's his name, his mate. What's his mate? You just said it.
Bill Maloney.
Yeah, Bill Maloney. There was Bill Maloney, me, Bill Maloney's wife, Big Dylan and John, and Netflix were there. And I went up there and we went down and got a coffee. And I said to John, he said, "You're going to get a cab up to the station?" I said, "No, I'm going to go because I've got to get some cigarettes." He disappeared. He brought me 20 fags back, right? Then when they was going to go through Hyde Park with Millie and everything. And John said, I said, "John, I can't do that because I can't walk far." And they walked me over. He put me in a taxi. And he said, "She's going up to Charing Cross Station." He gave me £20. I said, "I don't need £20. It's only up. You take it." You know, he's a generous. He will give his last penny to anybody. You know, he's not out for money. He definitely isn't out for money. He's got a heart of gold. He will help anybody. And it really annoys me when these people, you know, just assume that he's taking money for nothing. You know, it really gets my goat up. And that's all I want to say. And the trolls can go and jump. You know.
Martin, you want to say something?
Right. I spoke to John Wedger about four or 5 weeks ago, and when I first came across John Wedger in April last year, when I saw him on James English, I couldn't believe that anyone remembered Beechholme. Then of course he put me in contact with you, Sue, Jean, and I was really happy that I was accepted into the group. But I said to John Wedger to his face over the phone, the trouble with you, John, you are too trusting. I'm surprised you're an ex-detective, yet you trust people on face value. You know, you should vet people before you take them into your flock. You know, it's part of your own fault. You are too nice. And also, he told me of his own mouth that somebody was stealing money off him, who he put in charge, where I won't mention their name, and he was giving hang on, he's gone. Where's that, Alan? Where you gone, Alan?
Right, you can carry on.
He was giving Jeanette Archer money. He said he was giving the other one, Nicky Cooper, right? Now, the thing is, like with Sandy, I saw you a few weeks ago when they were trolling you, right, Sandy? They were driving you mad, and Jane, right? They did the same with John Wedger to such an extent, he had to come off Facebook because they drove that poor man mad, right? John Wedger is not a corrupt person. He is too kind. And I told him that. And I said, I'm not being rude, John, but you're like Marmite. People either love you or they hate you. Because I've watched hundreds of hours of videos about John Wedger on YouTube. People either love him or they hate him. And that's being honest. And I told him to straight, you know. But I said, the trouble with you is you take on people, John, and you don't vet them. It's like when you go for a job, you have what do they call it when you go? Well, you know when you have a job. What's it called? A reference. You need a reference, right? I said you need to get a reference before you start taking people on and trusting them. You know, giving these people money, and then they turn around and shit over you and call you this and like Nicky Cooper. 1 minute she's all over John, how wonderful John is, and then she's trying to cause trouble for John and trying to grasp on different things that have happened over the podcast. What you said was true, Sue. He was on Brew Review on the evening. He said he had £5,000 and he wanted to forward it on to Maggie Oliver, right? But what you also said, Sue, is true, right? When he takes donations, when he's going to doing podcasts with different people, he needs money for petrol. He needs money to get there. He needs money, you know, I was talking to him on the phone with Dylan when he was on the last bit of the walk. Do you remember the walk?
Mm.
And that Danny Kerr, he's the one that caused most of that trouble, the one that you mentioned earlier. It was Danny Kerr, him. He turned out a nasty piece of work.
Yeah.
Vanessa told me that. You know, Vanessa, who was in the group as well. She helped John in Parliament, you see. I was talking to John and Dylan, and I could see that John was really absolutely so depressed and down. He said that Barbara O'Hare, the other one, Barbara O'Hare, Mike Tarrager. They were just driving the man mad. I mean, he couldn't do right for doing wrong, you know. So I've never not trusted John, and I always wanted to meet John because, unfortunately, when I came into the group last April, everything got locked down, so I couldn't get to London like I wanted to do. Do you remember I told you that before, Sue? You know, and I never had the money to get to Nottingham. It was far too far away from where I live, right? So I was always wanting to support Beechholme because I was in Beechholme. And go on, Sue, if you want to say something.
Well, no, you just mentioned Michael Tarrager. Now, Danny Kerr, as I was saying earlier, he started getting involved, wanting to know the ins and outs of a thing. And I said to Alan, I said, there's something not right about him. And Michael Tarrager had put up a message slating John, really slating John off, right? And then the next thing, he put a message up saying he was sorry to John and he loved him. And if it was at the time when Jeanette had come out with her story, and he said, I think I was a bit jealous because he wasn't no longer the centre of attention, right? And then when then something else came up, Danny Kerr had done something and caused shit again, and then John started getting the nasty messages again from Michael Tarrager, and he took the money from my book and everything. Well, I've got a statement which I photocopied, which Michael Tarrager actually says that John never took a penny from him. You know, and it just seems to be people are listening to that. And I know different because I've got that there and I've seen what they've put up. Barbara O'Hare is just a nasty piece of work.
Yeah, remember, you know, when you went, sorry, Sue, you know, when you went to Blackpool, was it you? When he said, oh, fuck the Beechholme team, who cares about
But
them?
no, he told Alan that. But
No,
he
it was
said,
me. He said that too. I went to support Michael Tarrager at the GMB conference, the GMB Unions conference in Liverpool. And I went all the way up there to support him and stayed. I took my motorhome up there, to be truthful, and I was quite prepared to stay in my motorhome because I didn't know about the B&Bs and so on and so forth. So I thought it's just easy to stay because he said it was near the seafront. And he said, no, you stay in a spare room, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, the least I can do is let me buy the meal tonight. So I'll pay for a takeaway for everybody.
Yeah, that's
and he said to me about, he said he wasn't in Beechholme, so he doesn't give a fuck about Beechholme. And I took a little bit, I didn't like that. That put me on the back foot. But then I still supported him and carried on talking. And he never, ever got involved with the Beechholme. He never, ever spoke about us. We helped, we bought his T-shirts. We helped buy his
promoted his book.
Yeah, I bought a book for Jimmy the Hat, and I got Michael to sign it to Jimmy the Hat, but I paid for it. And then he was saying something about money that I gave him for his charity that he didn't get, and he said, "No, you didn't put it through this, that, and the other," and he was accusing me of not paying him for so on and so forth.
And also, Alan, he with John Wedger introduced him to Anna Breeze, right? So with Anna Breeze, it was through her that he got that book published, wasn't it?
Yes.
Meat Rat Boy. So
Yes.
he is and he did a video about John a few months ago saying, oh, when I die, I'm going to haunt you, and all this sort of stupid talk. What's it say? Angela Pearl Disney involved in any way? Hang on, what's it say? It says something here.
Yeah.
Can I just come in a second? Can I just come in a second, like, guys? I know there's quite a few of us in the room, but I've invited Spearthrower on as well to say some stuff. But and the reason why I invited Spearthrower is when it got out of hand, Spearthrower was in the chat room. Now I want Spearthrower to come in just to ask him, was I wrong in what I did with Linda?
I'd have done the same, Alan.
Yeah.
In fact, I have.
Yeah, sometimes Spearthrower will help out and be a co-host with people. So he's had to be in the situation before where he's had to make a judgment call.
I know we shouldn't just like assume she's been on the pop, but sometimes you can't see that of a can opening.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I mean, just coming on like that with all guns blazing, it's not the way to enter a room.
It's
Yeah,
not.
very well said.
And
You know
Martin
what?
just.
That was really well said. I couldn't have timed that better by asking you to come into the room and then just turning around and making that one statement justifies everything. That why we do this is we do this to try and get a message out there, and we support these groups. And as survivors ourselves, the majority of us are survivors in this room, right? And we do this because we went through it.
Yeah.
And we're out there supporting these groups now. We go all over the country supporting other people. We're foot soldiers. We not only do it on shows like this, and I thank Jason for giving us the platform. You know, although sometimes Jason, when Jason wants to make a point, he will make a point.
But everyone's entitled to their opinions.
Yeah.
But, you know, we do go out. We do it in all different ways. You know, you go to a lot of the rallies, I'll go to some, but for 2 years, I was going out to Parliament every single month, whether it was snow, rain, whatever. I would be there on the first Wednesday of every month, doing what I could, giving out leaflets, talking to people.
I did it to start off with decency, didn't I?
Yeah, and I mean, decency was always there with us, and we did get our point across. Sometimes I did do it at first with Moira, but with Jean, me and Jean were out there, and we got a lot of interest. We did get a lot of interest out there. People stopping us, asking us, you know, what we were about and everything, and genuine people that were interested and didn't know what was going on, you know. And also we had John with us there as well. John came many a time with us, and John has always supported the Beechholme. Like, he's always.
There's one thing we have to say though, Sue, don't we? Really, to be truthful, in John's favour. Now, if we say going on the back end of this year will be 3 years that I've known John Wedger.
Yeah, same as me.
And John Wedger has always stood up and fought the Beechholme corner. Not many people else have. Now, I've got one really great. I'll come to you in a minute, Mark. I've got one great warrior in Delroy who's going to fight our case, Beechholme's case, because there's a legal precedence already been made. And when people like Sandy turn around and Jean turn around and say, when I've said a story about the carbolic soap, I nearly cried when I heard them say exactly the same thing, because, you know, and it almost makes me well up now. It's to say, was I that lone person? Was I that lone wolf that was trying to cry out, but no one would hear me? Does that make sense? And then these guys come to my rescue and they say these things, and it justifies why I do what I do. And if that makes, you know, listen, I keep reiterating on this. Everything I've done, everything I've got for myself. I've worked for myself. I've done what Sue's done. I've lived on the streets of London. I've lived roughed. My first 25 years, I was a very, very confused young man. I got throw bricks through a window to get a night skip in a police station. I've been at them super kids.
I can't imagine you doing that, Alan. The man that I know now, I can't imagine you being that way. But when you talk
I
about
could be nasty.
Yeah.
If somebody got in my face now and was fucking me off in my face now, and got in my face, they'd see a different side to me, because
I'm sure.
I can be a nasty bastard.
And I can see that Martin's trying to come in, but there's something I want to bring up just before you do, Martin. I know you've been really patient and waiting, but I put a written question in the Zoom private chat here, which Martin read out, which I'd always prefer the host to read, not the guests.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
But that's no problem. But because Martin read a bit out and he mentioned the name,
I was going to read it, but I see Martin do it.
Yeah, and he mentioned Angela Power Disney, but then he got stopped. And there's people in the chat room now that I know Angela. I know that they know Angela.
The reason why I
hang on,
stopped
Alan. But the person in the chat room would have heard her name be mentioned, but not know why it's come up.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure they know why I've asked it. So you can't start that question.
Hang on, guys. There's a reason why I've done this, Jason. Trust me. Right. The reason why I've done this is there's a guy called Sandy Smith in the room with us tonight. I want Sandy to turn around and answer that
Yeah, 'cause
self-same question.
It's Sandy I've heard mentioned her before, and I can't remember why he mentioned her. And
Sandy, can
I just
you
wonder
just,
whether it had any relation to John Wedger or it's a different thing altogether. But I have
John,
heard
can you
first
just,
of all,
yeah, I've
John
heard
and Angela don't get on, so
right. I don't get on right. Okay. I mean, I've heard Sandy mention that. I've heard Sandy mention Angela Power Disney, but I don't know. I can't remember in what context.
Well, I got involved with Angela Power Disney many, many years ago, and she is one evil bitch of a woman. One dirty, evil bitch. She's threatened to take me to court. I've told her, take me to court. I'll charge you for slander. I hope she does. I really do pray she does. Now, this Angela Power Disney started attacking me. And it was coming in big time. She maybe forget that, but I don't. I don't forget that. And what she was going to do and destroy me and what she was going to do. Now, Angela Power Disney got involved with a girl from Glasgow. And we were giving support to this girl. And it was one night, Angela Power Disney had contacted this girl. Now, this girl, she took a nervous breakdown. I can't go into too much because I know it can upset a lot of people here. But anyway, this girl, something happened in her younger life, that's all I'll say. But Power Disney found out about this. And she also found out that this girl had just been released from a psychiatric hospital. And she was in a bad way. Angela Power Disney started talking to this girl, getting to know her, all nice and friendly, she usually does. And the girl put trust into her. And Power Disney had turned around to the girl and told her, be careful, because the police are going to come to your door. She goes, I know they're going to come. She goes, believe in me. She goes, they're either going to come tonight, tomorrow night, but they're definitely coming. And you're going to end up in a psychiatric hospital. Again, she goes, they're going to come, and this time they're taking your children away from you. You'll never see them again. Now, for somebody that's just come out of a place like that, they don't want to go back to this place, if you know what I mean. And this girl started freaking. And we were talking to her, and Jane's here as my witness. We were talking to this woman, and this was about 10 to 6, probably about 10 to 6, on a Saturday night. And that conversation went on to the back of 6:30 on a Sunday morning. We managed to get the girl brought down to a level, but I swear, and I can put my hand in my heart, I'll take any lie detector test. This girl would have committed suicide and took her kids with her. We managed to get her brought right down. We got her right down. The girl told us her mother had arrived. We took that at face value, although we never spoke to the mother. Now, when Jane was on talking to this girl, we found out the hospital she was in Glasgow, and I phoned up the hospital. Now, Angela Power Disney had this girl petrified to the police. And she told Jane and I, she goes, if the police come here tonight, she goes, I'm going to take my child's life and end mine. And she was crying, she was hysterical. You'd be there to be in the situation. It wasn't a nice place to be. And we were doing everything. So while Jane was trying to calm her down, I'm on to this hospital, trying to get her support and help. And the bitch answered the phone to me. She goes, if you're that concerned, get the police. I told her, I goes, listen, I goes, you're not understanding this. I goes, if the police turn at her door, I goes, she's going to commit suicide and take her kids. She goes, well, contact the police. I goes, listen, you're not listening. She goes, well, you can't be all that concerned about it. I goes, I'm concerned about her. I goes, for Christ's sake. I goes, let me speak to a psychiatrist. I goes, let me speak to him. And the phone went down. Phone's up again and again and again, and its phone just down, down, down all night long. So thank God, I'll give Jane full credit here. Jane done it remarkable with that girl. Absolutely brilliant with her. and brought her back down to sort of reality. But she did tell us her mother was here and she was feeling tired. She was going to bed. She went to bed. We went to ours. Later on that day, I tried to contact her, so did Jane. We couldn't get her. Phoned her. We were on Facebook, trying that. Couldn't get her. And it was later on in the Sunday night, it was a friend of mine, and it was him that first got the message about this girl and passed it on to us, because we were nearer than he was. So anyway, fella, and he come on the phone and he was, I mean, this guy was crying. So I goes, what's up, mate? He goes, oh, have you not heard? Have you not heard? I goes, what? He mentioned the young girl's name and he told us she committed suicide. I went, oh. I goes, how's the kids? He goes, well, we found out the kids weren't with her. We thought she had the kids with her. Thank God she hadn't. Thank God. Now, Angela Power Disney sells stories. She did, I don't know about now, but she did sell stories to is it CNN News or something like that? I'm sure it's CNN News. She was selling stories about victims too. She can't deny that. Because CNN will verify it's true, she was. So she is guilty of a girl's murder as charged. And that's some statement for anybody to make, but she is. And I know for a fact, if she came to Glasgow, she might come to Glasgow, but she would need a hearse to take her back out, because there's so many people up here despise her, hate her for what she done. This is not nothing about the Glasgow area, what she done, and there's still people today hurt with her, especially her husband, and especially her 2 kids she left behind. She's a sick woman. She goes out looking for trouble. And I know that she was with John Wedger. And this is the way this woman works. There's another
Sandy, let Martin answer when you finish.
Yeah, I'll let you come in.
Right, Sandy, Angela Power Disney's channel's been taken down, okay? So has Anna Breeze. But I think Barbara O'Hare, Anna Breeze, all these people, their channels have been taken down. Now, about you, Mike, Beechholme was a very cruel, hard place for a child, you know. I was there, so I know. I mean, I went through it the same as you. Luckily, I wasn't treated anywhere as badly as what you were, but I know from what I saw there and how the kids were treated that it was a cruel, hard place to grow up. It was like being in a children's prison, really. But I would say about John Wedger. Now, Jean contacted me. She said, "Would you watch this video that Nikki Cooper did about John Wedger?" Right. So in earlier videos, she's saying, "Oh, John Wedger would give you his last penny. What a kind man John Wedger is." So Jean said to me, "Would you please watch this video?" So I watched the video. So she starts off and then she's saying, "Well, John Wedger's an alcoholic and all he's interested in what goes in his fucking bank account, right?" Now, see how she turned. A lot of people are jealous of John Wedger. That man is very, very intelligent. There's not much he doesn't know. He knows almost everything. They are jealous of him. That is why these trolls, they drove him to such extent, he had to come off Facebook. They drove him mad, right? They made his life a misery. Like I did with you last week, Sandy, or the week before. They drove you to, I could see the misery in your face, right? John Wedger and like Nikki Cooper, John with his own mouth said he'd given her money. The same with Jeanette Archer, all of them. You know, he helped all those people. Then they all turned on him. That's what I said to John. I'm not being rude, John, but you are too soft, and I'm surprised you're an ex-detective. You should vet people before you take them on. Just don't take someone on face value. And then he said about somebody else with a name of with the surname with the word D was stealing money off of him, right? You know, and so unfortunately he's tried to do his best, but he's got involved with people that are all using him that are rotten to the core. You know, I mean, when he got into this SRA, that's when everything started to go downhill. I think if we'd have just kept it to with children in care,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have gone. It wouldn't have turned so nasty. But you know, I've never met John Wedger. I've spoken to him 5 or 6 times for an hour at a time, and you know, he knows my voice. He knows me. He knows I was in Beechholme, and I was put into a mental hospital like Sue was, and I was also put into Stan's house and beaten up. A boys at Forstall. I've been through all those situations. You know, I've been taken away from my mother. My mum had, you know, my mum came down to see me when I was in that psychiatric unit, and John actually knew the name of it. And he said, you know, was it Hill End? I said, I'm not sure, but he said, I think that's where you were put. My mum came down, and we tried to escape, but we didn't know the area, so we tried to run, me and my mum. And then we were surrounded by police and the doctor. One was grabbing my arm, and my mum was screaming, let go of my son. And she was fighting with a police officer. And, you know, in the end, she couldn't get me away because they dragged me back into that madhouse, and I was drugged up with old Gactal over and over again. Like Sue was drugged up with that stuff as well, right? I had the same experience happen to me. My mum went to court. She got a lawyer. She took that lying social worker to court, and she won the case, and I got released, right? So I have been there. I've been in those places. It's same as Sue, Alan. You know, I've not been in a man's prison. I don't want to go in a man's prison. Thank you very much. But I know your story, Alan. You had to, because you were homeless, you had to throw bricks through shop windows to get put in prison because you had nowhere to sleep. Am I right? Alan, are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening, and what I'm reading the comments as well.
Right.
I would have.
Am I right?
Yeah, you absolutely.
I honestly think that John Wedger is a kind man, and these people that run him down, they are jealous because John is well known. He goes on the street, people know him everywhere. When he used to do Brew of a View, he used to get 10, 20,000 views. Now, he said to me, when that Nicky Cooper goes live, you get 8 views. Now, 8 views, that's what I said to John, she'll fade away. She's not that interesting. The other one, the one that you fell out with, Jeanette Archer, she's another one, she'll just fade away. You know, and he also was said in the podcast recently that he was very friendly with Wilfred Wong and that he knew him very well and all this stuff. And, you know, John is, I don't believe any of these stories that people say about John Wedger. I mean,
Let me answer some of the questions you just put, Martin, if I can. Firstly, with Michael Tarraga, I didn't like what Michael said to me when he said, I don't give a fuck about Beechholme. And after all the support we gave him through one way or the other, funding him, giving him money for funds, buying T-shirts, buying merchandise, and so on and so forth, as survivors, I thought it was only right to support a fellow survivor. That's all I'm going to say about that. But when he turned around and said, I don't give a fuck about Beechholme, I took offence to that because I didn't like that. I don't think there was any call for it. I don't think there was any need for it. And that's why I don't get involved in Beechholme. That's what he said. As far as Jeanette Archer's saying, she turned on me in the sense that she turned around and said, it's satanic ritual abuse or nothing. Right. So in other words, what she was saying, we had to devote more of our time to her than what we were doing. We were losing track of what we were actually setting out to do. All right. And I turned around and said, well, hang on a minute. It's not just about one thing. It's about multiple things. Right. So therefore, when, you know, I talk about John Wedger and stuff like that, John Wedger has never done any harm as far as I'm concerned. If people got something to prove, let them prove it. You know, but at the end of the day, no one has ever brought anything to the table. Now, I've just got to say something. Look, I've really been having to answer some of the comments room as well as hosting the show as well. It's not that easy sometimes.
I've always seen you.
All we got is AJ's been in the. He said he 100% seen pictures of Angela Powell Disney with Jimmy Savile, and AJ has also put. She's got another channel as well, which Spearthrow was saying something about.
AJ
was saying something about a channel was being taken down, but she's brought another channel out.
AJ knows Angela Powell Disney very well.
Sorry?
AJ knows Angela Powell Disney very well.
He obviously does.
When I say know her well, not as in a friend, but as in he knows what she's all about.
Yeah,
Get that
yeah.
one, you know.
So he knows where probably Sandy's coming from when, and
Absolutely does.
reading between the lines when I'm trying to do the show and go back to the comments page as well, which Jason likes
It's not
me to
always
do.
easy, is it, Alan? It's not always easy. But yeah, you mentioned about the SOA thing, and a while back you said to me that you wanted to get back to what you started off on, which was your background is regarding the abuse in the care homes with Beechholme, and Sandy's is with Quarriers Care Home or Orphanage in Scotland. And you're right when you said to me about the SOA can kind of like overshadow things a lot, and it kind of takes over if you allow it to. And I
It's a
think
very dangerous thing as well because
yeah, and I
there
think
is some hardened criminals involved in. Sorry, Sue, you got your hand up. Sorry, darling.
I just wanted to say that when John did the walk, there was a lady, she was dying, and she left £1,000 to John
Yes.
and £1,000 to Nikki, right? Then John was doing it for the charity, you know, the with the bloke the criminal who's doing the knives thing.
Terry Ellis.
Yeah, Terry Ellis. The money was going to him to help with that, right? And then all of a sudden, John's I don't know who he was doing it. It was what was the page he was doing it on? Just Giving or something.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And the likes of Barbara O'Hare, Michael Carragher, all reported him for it, and that page was taken down.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
It was taken down. He didn't get the money to give to the people, you know, like Terry Ellis, which was a good cause. He wasn't doing it for himself. But Nikki kept hers.
Was that like a GoFundMe thing where money gets returned back to the people that donated? Yeah.
But the lady died by then. And now, like as I say, Nikki Cooper got the £1,000 from this lady. I don't think she's a charity, but now she's doing a GoFundMe. You know, and John's doing it for good. She's doing it for research. Nikki Cooper. You know,
they're con artists, so they're all in it for what they can get. They pretend that they're really doing it, but they don't care about anyone. They're doing it for money for themselves. That's all it is. And I spoke to John when. Can you hear me? Am I still on or not?
Yeah.
When John was doing the walk with Dylan, I phoned him the last day, and he said he was absolutely pissed off that Barbara O'Hare, Mike Carragher, all that money that he raised was by Just Giving was all shut down. Everyone that gave that money, it was all refunded back to them. He said, "I've done this. I've gone out with Dylan. We've done," and then they're saying, "Oh, did he really walk that walk, or was he just pretending to?" And all this stuff. So that's why I said anything poor John Wedger does, that man can't do right for doing wrong.
Yeah, well said.
And Nikki Cooper, she took that £1,000, and then she's got the cheek. Another one, that Andrew guy, you know that a math
yeah.
He when John Wedger was doing a live interview with Tinky and Angel, he actually mentioned me in when he used to do his podcast, he mentioned me quite a lot, Martin, right? He said, yeah, that's what he calls me, his gay friend. I don't mind that. That's how he sees me. That's fine. So I don't see myself like that. I just see myself as Martin. But that's how he sees me, right? So anyway, that Andrew guy, he was saying, "Oh, I'll just have another drink," and he's saying, "Oh, John Wedger's having another drink." Well, so what? If he wants to have a drink, it's his fucking life. What's it got to do with these trolls? He pays his mortgage or whatever he does. He works or he works, right? If he wants another drink, so what? It's got nothing. She's saying, Andrew guy, "Oh, well, I'll just have another drink. I'll just have another drink." Well, even if he did have another drink, that is his personal business. It's got nothing to do with other people. They keep saying, "Oh, Nikki Cooper, oh, John Wedger, he'd give you his last hate me." And then in the next breath, she says, all he's interested in is fucking money, and he's an alcoholic. You see how she's turned nasty? You see, she won't go anywhere. She hasn't got any personality. She will never go anywhere. She's boring. John Wedger stands out, and you know, when he did that live in Trafalgar Square in front of all those thousands of people, he knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to talk in front of an audience. He's gifted. He knows how to do it right. These other idiots that are so-called podcasters and this and that, they're just in it for the money or to what they can screw out of people. It's like that Mike Tarrager. He does videos about John Wedger saying, "Oh, when I die, I'm going to haunt him till he," and all this rubbish. The man's mad. I mean, he's full of hatred. Is it because John Wedger is popular and that old part isn't? And he's supposed to be on palliative care? For someone with cancer, he seems to be going on forever and ever and ever. If you really had cancer, Mike, you'd be dead. There's no way a person would keep coming back with cancer. You would die. Cancer is very quick and it's a very cruel disease. I know because my mum had it. So, you know, how he keeps coming back from the dead. Mike Tarrager, Barbara O'Hare are pure evil. So is Angela Powell Disney. So is that other nutcase, Sharon Gale. Have you seen her? Yeah. Have you ever seen that nutcase? She goes on there in her knickers. She's as drunk as a sack. The other one's a nutcase as well. He's 17, Brian Harvey. He goes on and on and on about John Wedger. He can't let it go, you know. And that was in 2013, 2014. You know, I don't believe all these stories that people say about John. I truly get the feeling that he's a kind man. He brought 4 children up, and 2 of those boys were not his. No, a lot of men would not take another man's children on. They wouldn't do it. They'd put that child into care. But because he worked on Vice and he saw what happened to children in care, I think it frightened him. That's why he took on the other children. And to bring 4 sons up on your own with no wife, it is bloody hard. It is hard, I can tell you that now. Because my mum brought 3 sons up on her own with no financial help from my father. It is hard. So all these people like Nicky Cooper, Angela Powell Disney, Andrew Guide, I all think, even Brian Clare said that to me. He said that Andrew Guide goes on about John so much that he thinks he's tapped in the head. Because why would somebody keep talking about, and remember when Anna Breed did an interview with the singer Robbie Williams, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, Andrew Guide sent that to Brian Harvey, right? Brian Harvey goes and puts the video out immediately and said, that guy that woman that you interviewed, Anna Breed, she's all in with John Wedger, who's in with Phil Maloney, who's in with Ian Puddick. And he said they're wrong and you don't want anything to do with them. And then Andrew Guide goes and does a video and puts it up saying that woman, Anna Breeze, she's all in with John Wedger and don't have anything to do with them. They're both in it purely for money. And Robbie Williams didn't get involved in it, right, one way or the other, because he doesn't know the ins and outs of what's gone on. But both of them, as soon as that video came out, they tried to stir up shit, you know. And they're doing it now with the other one, Sean Atwood. They're trying to discredit him and say he's a con artist. And, you know, they turn on people like what they did to Sandy a couple of weeks ago. You were in despair, Sandy. I saw it in your face. Go on, Sue.
Well, do you remember when John was doing View with a Brew?
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
Right. Now, there was comments put up, and this was Barbara O'Hare, that John had shares in the building that he was doing it for the View with a Brew from.
He's a security guard or something.
Right.
Yeah.
She put this up. This is, he's got shares in that place. Well, he actually works there. That's where he was tonight, right? He's a receptionist, right? So he had shares there.
You saw him on the door tonight.
Then she had put up that John Wedger's son has bought an £80,000 BMW, right? So what if he had, his sons are grown up. So she wanted to know where the money came from, which is nothing to do with her what John's sons buy, what they don't fucking buy, nothing,
And
right?
that camper van that he was trying to sell.
And then she said, yeah, she said he's got 2 camper vans outside his house, which was a lie because he had one. And he was actually selling that. And it's only a little, not a big camper van, one of them, like the Volkswagen.
He was trying to
thing.
sell it for Christine, the woman called Christine.
He was selling it for Christine Standing, right?
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Then she's taken photos of his house. She has given his address and
I
his
saw
phone
that.
number.
Yes, I saw
out.
that. I saw that.
There was also, let me come in there, Sue. There was a very good point, Sue, because when I make that a very, very good point, is that not only did they go to the extreme, they were distorting the facts, the true facts from reality, and then they were also attacking survivors. In the attack on John was an attack against survivors. Don't care what anybody says, right? And that's what one thing you don't do. You do not do. If you claim to be of any ilk or any good doing, you do not attack. But one other thing, if someone's been through child abuse, okay, I'm an ugly bastard now, but once I was a little child and I went through it, so I know what it's like, you know. And I'm speaking out now, like Sandy and like Sue and like Martin. And I'll tell you what, they went to the extreme. Whatever people said, they believed in, and they went to the extreme of taking photograph of John's private house where he lived. Posting them on social media like Facebook and places like that on YouTube, and also taking videos of the place where he worked, or surmising it was the place he worked, and taking videos of why do you want to go to that extreme? Why have you got so much time on your head? Why don't you put that time to good causes and do something good, rather than go around and then try and turn other people against all the good work that one individual has done? It's disgraceful.
Yeah, well, her video was taken down. And as I said not long ago, she got onto my page again, and I've blocked her and everything. And I said to her, why, you know, how'd she get on? And she had a dig at me. And then she said, and I gave her, I said, you know, you're wrong in what you say and everything. And she said to me, I bet you won't be so gobby if I come face to face with you, will you? So I said to her, listen, love, I'm not scared of you. Come face to face with me and gob off at me and I'll smack you straight in it. I don't care if I'm 64 years old. I don't give a shit. I won't be talked to by a piece of scum like she is. Because that's all she is, for the nastiness.
Hateful. She's hateful.
She's hateful.
Yeah.
And she even started on Jean.
Try and bring spear throw in a bit, Sue, as well.
Yeah, sorry, spear thrower. I do apologise. Please speak.
Oh, don't worry.
Otherwise, Alan will sack me.
Don't worry about it. I'm just
He
listening
will.
in.
He keeps threatening to sack me, so I have to do as I'm told.
But yeah, you better watch it. He'll boot you off.
Yeah. Yeah. Just wait till I get hold of him, mate. But yeah, you're welcome to speak. Sorry.
Well, I'm not really a survivor, so I can't. I've got no stories to tell, and I'm not really familiar with the people you're talking about. I've heard of John before. I heard his name a couple of years ago. The stuff that he was doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Yeah. But what annoys me is Survivor turning against Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
there's no
so
need for that.
wrong.
Yeah.
No need for that.
There's no need at all, you know. But as I say, John, I'll back him 100%. No one's brought no evidence forward. Silly little things about the play, the thing, you know. They're wrong. They're so wrong, and he doesn't have to justify himself to anybody.
No.
He doesn't. And they're saying, oh, he's a whistleblower. Well, who's he blowing the whistle on? Well, are you that thick that you don't know he's taking the police to court? And he cannot give these things out because it will jeopardise his case.
You don't volunteer for that kind of harassment, do you? Really?
No, no, and he doesn't deserve. Do you know? Recently, my friend Jean, who's part Beechholme Warwick, she's 80 years old, and she came to me for Christmas. 3 weeks she was here, and John came down. He was in Weymouth. He came from Weymouth to here and picked her up and took her back to London. That's, you know, how kind he is.
Yeah.
He is kind, you know, and he says, you got any problems, just phone me and let me know. And he would be there for you, you know.
Yeah.
I've often said this, Spearthrower. I've often said that the wrong with John is, now this guy, I'm going to say this guy is a highly decorated police officer, right? He was highly recommended. He was a distinguished medal, I think he got. The guy.
And I saw Ank, I saw a documentary. It was something to do with barges, boat people that he was involved in. Am I right there?
Yes.
Right, yeah, it's the same guy. So, yeah, I saw a documentary, and that's when I first really came across John Wedger.
And that was when you were talking about the barges. The walk he did to Bath was partly along the canal routes.
Yeah.
And he went along the canal with was it Dion? Dylan.
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 But
He
yeah,
went with Dylan.
but is that the right one? Because John did one about barges as well, about a lot of paedophiles living on barges.
That's
I
right.
think that's
Yeah.
what Spearthrow's talking about.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was what I just said, but yeah, it's just horrible what they're saying about him for such a kind bloke. And you know, he's been down to Bexhill many a time, and my great granddaughter was there, and he was talking to you know, he loves children, and I don't know if many people know this, and I don't. John went one. You know, a couple of years ago, he's one of his older boys was in a bad way and in intensive care for a long time, and he's now in a wheelchair. But his youngest son is terminally ill.
He's got a lot of problems. I knew that. Well, so
Yeah, he's terminally ill, and he's such a
I mean,
nice
that's
guy.
enough for anyone to have on his plate, anyway.
Yeah, you
John,
know.
John loves children. He does. He
Yeah.
loves children. No doubt about that. He loves children.
You
But
know,
John saw a lot in the Vice Squad. When John was a part of the Vice Squad, he saw things in the Vice Squad he didn't like. He was going to his seniors and telling them about things that he had seen that he didn't like. In the end, they turned on him for him and threatened to take everything that he owned away from him, threatened to take his family and put them into care, threatened to take his house away, every single thing he owned, if he didn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Alan.
It's the same old tactics, isn't it, Alan? Just like they did with, you know, let's say Tommy or Katie Hopkins. They did the same thing.
Yeah.
They come after your house, your children,
yeah,
your job.
They tried to arrest him 9 times.
I'm quite surprised the same thing hasn't happened to Maggie Oliver, because you know, she's ex-police, isn't she? She's spoken out.
She's a good friend of John's.
Yeah, but I half expected a similar thing to happen with Maggie Oliver.
Yeah, they've done the same to Maggie Oliver as they've done to John.
Yeah, an attempt to make
exactly the same.
Quiet.
What's happened to Maggie Oliver is exactly what they've done to John.
What's
They've
happened to her? I don't know what's happened to her, and fill me in, because I've not heard what's happened to her.
Well,
I've not heard of her for a while.
I'm sorry, Martin. Go on, Martin.
Has she been nobbled or something? I don't know.
Hang on, Martin just wants to jump in.
He was dealing with an 8-year-old boy that was fucking infected by a paedophile with HIV, and he had to deal with that case. And he said he had to leave the interview room because he started crying. A boy of 8 years old being infected with bloody HIV, which is a death sentence, right? He dealt with that, and he also was the detective behind the Baby P case. He had to deal with that as well. The things that he saw, young girls of 8, 9 being prostituted out to men, and he saw what was going on. It must have made his stomach turn over, what the filth and the disgusting things that he had to deal with.
Yeah.
No wonder that man ended up, you know, anyone dealing with that unless you're as hard as nails and got no feelings for other people.
Can I just say
right.
something, Mark? My sister-in-law worked at Tesco's, and she was a shelf filler. And her husband, which is Kathy's brother-in-law, Kathy's whatever they relate,
Brother.
he was a motorcycle coppers with the police in Lincolnshire, and he'd done an escort duty and any royalty that came up there. And his wife used to go home some nights. She used to say, "Fucking hell, what a day I've had, filling the shelves and fucking right terrible day filling." And he turned around and said, "If I'd have said to her I was scraping human beings off the fucking side of the road, she wouldn't believe it." When she said she's had a hectic day of stacking shelves, and I turn around and tell her that I've been scraping bodies off the fucking side of the road, human beings. And she said she's had a stressful day. He said, "You don't know the meaning of some of the things you say." It's like John. I've seen him do videos and live casts outside Hampstead. I've seen him doing the Finchley Road stuff. All these relevant cases that have come along, and people have questioned what John's been doing and why he does it.
And also that book he recommended, Playland, where these boys were out in the Wimpy bar, and they're being prostituted out by the mafia, by all different gangs. He had to deal with that and see all that going on. I mean, any adult would know that it is not normal for a man or woman to go with an 8-year-old shop boy or a girl. It's not right. Anyone would know that, right? So for him to see that going on, it must have made his stomach turn over. It must have made him it would make you lose your faith in humanity, because it's awful. It's just beyond words. I can't even put a word to it.
I think what's harder than that is that he's in a job where he's supposed to stop things like that happening, and he keeps getting the door shut in his face by his superiors
and threatened by the upper ranks. But like, I talk to John quite a lot because we've got a lot in common, where he's brought his boys up and I've brought 3 of my grandchildren up, and some of the things that we talk about, they're exactly the same, and the way we've dealt with it. And he said when he dealt with the baby P case, after, I mean, she went to attack him and everything. She was nasty.
Yeah. He went to go
yeah, because my niece was at the same boarding school with her, and she was always a bully there. But he went home and he cried. He grabbed his boys and cuddled them from what he'd heard.
Well, I think we're forgetting as well, Sue, there's a thing as well with John. I think he was involved, or was asked, if not asked, to go on a Select Commons committee meeting with high-ranking MPs or lords or peers. But for some reason, I don't know what happened with that, Sue. You know more about that than probably what I do. But I don't think it came about, but he got immunity. From prosecution by the police, that they couldn't touch him while he was part of this investigation. By like ICSA, which is a similar type of MPs have got involved in this ICSA inquiry into child sexual abuse inquiry at the Home Office. And
I mean, we went to the Home Office with John, and there's John.
Going to see my MP.
John, you, Graham, me, and Moira.
Yeah.
And we had to tell them Victoria Atkins and these other 2 girls out there, or women, our names. So John introduced himself, and she said, "We don't want to hear nothing from you." Straight away, she stopped him. He wasn't allowed to speak.
What she actually said is that, my name's John. I said, what we'll do is we'll let everybody have a little bit of a speak or something like that, and we go around the room and introduce ourselves. We're sitting in the Home Office looking over the front, and John was next to me, and she introduced herself as John Wedger, ex-police detective. As soon as he said that, she knew that he knew things. He had seen things. She was reading beyond what John was about to say next. And she said, "Well, you're not actually a survivor, are you?" That's what she did say.
But she You know.
She made it, tried to belittle him and
Yeah.
beside him, or not beside him, what's the word I mean? Cast him aside because John had more to offer than she wanted to hear. And I put me on the back foot straight away because there was a couple of times I had to interject because then she went to Graham and I was going to let other people say something and then I was going to say something. And then Graham started talking about his mother and black children or something like that. And I had to come in and say, look, we're getting off what we're here for. And I don't know what trip Graham was on at the time. And that peed me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Hang on, Nick, Kathy's calling me.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we all told our stories. When I told mine, they were all crying.
You said that. I heard you say that before.
Yeah, they was all crying. And when we went out, she said, well, Victoria Atkins said, we're going to do everything we can to help you.
And nothing
right?
came of it. Is that right?
And
So,
we went outside and I was last and this black lady that was in there with us come up, she said, I'm so sorry for what you went through. So I said, it's not your fault, love. You know, all we're asking is that you help us. And she said, we'll do everything we can. And she walked me to the lift where the others were. And, you know, to this day, we've heard nothing.
yeah.
They've done nothing at all for us. You know, we're fighting up against a brick wall. Shirley Oaks have got their justice. Islington have got theirs. Beechholme got nothing.
The one that got me with John was that time when we were talking about there, when his kid was in the hospital phoned him to come urgently. His kid had went from bad to worse sort of thing. And John went to see his kid, but one of his other children was left at home. And when John returned home, the police were there to meet him.
Yeah.
Arrest him. I don't know if he got arrested or what happened there, I'm not too sure. But they were there to meet him for leaving this child. You're like, Jesus Christ, where's the bloody justice here? I mean, he's told his kid's dying. He goes to see that kid. Then when he comes home, they're waiting there for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gone. He had no money to get there. He had no money to get to the hospital or nothing, but he got there, you know. But that's how they left him, with nothing. They froze his accounts, everything. You know, they tried everything they could to break him, but they can't break a good man.
Yeah, but
as well as that, Sandy, I remember the times where he's wearing some of his kids' clothes because people were making out he's got all this money and all this money's been donated to him, blah, 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 accusation after accusation, and he didn't have a pot to fucking piss in. He was driving old bangers because I was in it.
Martin brought him a pair of trainers.
I bought him two, and I bought him a pair of hair clippers because all the barbers have shut down. So I sent him 2 pair of trainers, and I bought him a pair of hair clippers because when he was doing that interview of Tinky and Angel, he mentioned me. He said, "Oh, I love Martin, he's my gay mate," or something like that. But they kept interrupting and talking over him, so you couldn't really hear what he was saying. And I think Commander was in the background filming while he was doing it. Right? And that's the same podcast where 2 days later, that Andrew Guide puts the clip up, and she's running Angel and Nick Tinkerbell. Is her name Tinkerbell? Her down.
Yeah.
She's saying, "Oh, I'll just have another drink." Well, even if he did have another drink, it's got nothing to do with other people. I mean,
he was relaxing. He was staying there.
My mum used to drink like a fish. Right? I don't drink, but that's me, right? But when my mum was alive, every 2 weeks I'd buy her a bottle of whiskey. She liked to drink. So I used to buy a drink because she liked the way it made her feel. She felt relaxed, chilled out. So if someone wants to have a drink, it's up to them. You know, some people don't smoke, some people don't drink, some people don't do anything and they die of cancer and they end up a boring bloody life. So you can be one of these health freaks and you know, don't buy, don't smoke, don't drink, don't do this, and you still die. We all go the same way. It's inevitable. We're all going to go, right?
In one way
But
or another.
if John wanted to get, even if John did have a drink and get pissed, that is his personal business. And what he's been through in his life and what he's seen, that would drive anyone to drink. I would have thought so. Am I right or not, Alan?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What I'm going to say, guys, is thank you very much for coming on tonight, Sandy, as usual. Brilliant, mate, and good luck with your show when you start there. As always, Sue, thank you very much for coming on and telling me off all the time. Martin, thank you for coming in. I really do appreciate it. Spearthroat, it's always a pleasure to listen to you because, you know, I think you've got a lot to offer and you bring a lot of stuff to the table. And you're such an intelligent, inquisitive man. And I love listening to his tone. He's
I
got
don't know
lovely,
about that.
lovely tone and voice and quite articulated. So I'm going to go off. I'm going to leave the rest of you guys to have a little bit for a chat for a little bit longer. If you're welcome to stay on as long as you want for the rest of the night. But I want to say thank you to everybody. And at the end of the day, we've all got our opinions, even Jason.
Alan, what I'm going to do? I like the way you say even Jason. Thanks, Alan. Well, I'm actually going to compliment you, and I think you've handled things quite well tonight. So I'm quite.
I don't know. Listen,
Yeah,
I'm
thanks,
just a lame man. I'm a lame man. I'm nobody special. I'm a guy
That's
trying to
the
do
only
good
smoke I'm
things.
going to blow up your arse.
I'm not an intelligent man. I'm just a thick as shit. And I do my best. I'm not articulated. I'm not. My grammar's shit. I've got nothing really going for me, you know.
Go there.
No
No,
comment.
you haven't.
No
You haven't,
comment.
Phil. You
Well,
haven't,
Alan,
Phil.
if you're going to leave, Alan, what I'm going to do, because you're the host, and without a host, I don't want it going as a live stream out on the website. So what we're going to do, when you leave, Alan, if you're off now, I'm going to turn off the live stream that's going out publicly on the website.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anyone left in the chat room, but I think you're all in here anyway. So I'll leave Zoom running for you to all have a private after-show chat, okay?
Thank you.
And let me just do that now, actually. So say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Stay here, but I'm
Guys.
just going to kill.
Cheers.
I'm just going to kill the stream. So bear with me a second. While I do that.